Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome back to Infinite RP and episode 25 of Lost City of Vedranis. We've hit 25 episodes. We are
Old enough to
1/4
vote.
old enough to vote, and other things. Can we rent cars?
And do other things.
Yes.
Yeah, we can rent cars.
Yes.
Yeah,
We can
do that.
drink.
But not
We've been
without a
able to do
credit
that but not without a credit card. We don't have one. I hope
Gotta
everybody's been doing well. So good to see everybody. Let's go around and see what the cast has been up to. We do have a very special guest with us tonight, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Justin, you are
Okay.
such a special guest here tonight. Derek, let's start with you. How's your week been? How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great.
How was your
Doing
Thanksgiving,
fantastic.
Derek?
It was, you know what? The Feast of Thieves was a great holiday to spend with the family. Overall, no, it was awesome.
Love celebrating white colonist.
Yeah. Yeah, cha-cha. No, I mean it's great. Honestly, the entirety of the month has been great. We've been celebrating here at the house. It's Indigenous Heritage Month, which has been awesome. We've been making medicine bags and doing a bunch of other stuff too. Was able to see family, which we haven't seen in a very long time. So it was really nice to kind of get the inner circle of my tribe, if you would, together, and it was a great occasion overall. And only one family fight. That's how you know it was a great Thanksgiving. And other than that, it was I've just been going ahead and doing a lot of streaming while playing Zhang Wei, my wonderful Chinese Cole Moogle. He's been a fucking blessing and a half to go ahead and play. He's been awesome, and playing the hell out of Halo Infinite. It's still embedded deep into my flesh from my childhood, and I cannot get over it. I have a problem.
It sounds like an okay problem, though.
No, indeed.
I haven't touched it yet. I've been so interested to try.
Touch me. What?
Huh?
Oh.
Ray, how was your week?
Ray's here for it.
Hey, my week was good. I just did the things, woke up and lived like everyone else. I don't know. I've been streaming here and there. I've been doing some fun things. I'm working on a one shot that will be next week or a week and a half, something like that. So if you like me as a player, come watch me as a DM. I'll have more information about that soon. But besides that, I've just been living and waiting, honestly, to play because I've been really excited and I've missed you all.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Justin, how have you been? How was your holiday weekend?
It was good. It was a good couple weeks. We had a lot of fun. We had friends. Our family during this holiday host people who don't have anywhere else to go, like friends who have moved here from out of state or random people or whatever. And so we did that again this year. My friend brought basically his whole extended family over. So it was like our family hosted the Petersons. And it was like 20 people in our house, and which was a bit crowded, and it was wild. But we had good food, good time together. I have a new PC, which is like an early Christmas birthday present for me. Finally,
Upgrade
I'm on it today, and it's like my screen is so big. Like Derek's face is huge. Okay, now it's getting bigger.
Oh, that's awesome, though. That's so good.
Yeah, no, so I'm really excited about that. And on that PC, I've been playing a lot of Wild RP. My law character Jonah is in the middle of a crazy big storyline right now with the people of Rhodes, and I've been streaming that as much as I can. Now that I have the new PC, I'll do it more, and folks should watch because there's going to be something huge coming this week. So,
Ooh.
Get excited.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Hype. And last but certainly not least, our guest star for a couple episodes, Danae. How have you been? Tell us who you are, what you're about, and stuff.
Hi, I'm Danae. That's all. No, I met the crew here through Wild RP, so I play a couple characters on Wild RP. Sadie Jean, the pie-making newspaper civilian who tries to be the most boring person on the server and often fails. And then Babs, who has been described as a Harley Quinn-esque crazy young person. I like to describe her as a character who
is on a cocaine-induced ride straight into a wall. So we'll see how long that lasts. But anyway, so that's 2 people that I play on Wild RP. And we kind of obviously discovered the love of Dungeons and Dragons. And so I'm really excited to jump into the world and play with you guys. And thank you for having me. And you can find me on all the social medias if you want to and see other things I do.
Amazing. I was gonna say, like, let us not forget, like, Babs's like first introduction to the crossing where she stabbed her brother. That clip is amazing.
Listen, I've never played a character that I went from Sadie Jean, who doesn't know how to use a gun, to like I've never even done PvP. So the first thing that happens is I'm like, oh, I guess I can actually punch someone now, not realizing that when you do that and you have weapons, you use those weapons, not just. So it was a learning experience. One I'm enjoying. And then, of course, you have to roll with it and be like, yeah, I meant to do that. So she's fun.
So good. So
Love you stealing every horse on the streets, by the way, is probably my favorite. You're just a kleptic horse thief. Just
yes. I actually roll dice when she sees horses to see if she can resist temptation. And there was once that I rolled a D20. I rolled a nat 1, and I walked up to a group of like 6 people, and just in front of them in a bright pink clothes, jumped on a horse and rode off, and no one noticed somehow. So they were rolling really low on perception checks that day, and it went in my favor. So that was great. Perfect.
brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Well, thank you again so much for being here. We've been planning this for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
It's been in the making for a bit.
Yep.
And we're finally here. So like I said, we're so excited to have you.
Thanks.
Made it.
But without any further ado, how about we hop into this game, do a little bit of a recap, and see what's been up with the party. I need to like hype myself up. It's been a minute.
Yeah, just do some jumping jacks real quick.
Yep.
Anyway. It's not a jumping jack.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Anyway, last we left our 3 adventurers, you guys had reached an agreement with the Kyrogen, a group of cultish plague doctors in the Old Croak Market. You had come to an agreement and a deal with the second in command to turn over the Primordial's Eye, which is one of the warp stones that is spread out through the city of Vedranis. And for those who don't know, warp stones in the Primordial Eye are pieces of a giant primordial elder god that once ran rampant through the city or ruled over the city. We're not quite sure yet, but the pieces are kind of starting to fit together a little bit. You guys turned over this eye. Who knows what will happen now to that group? And you guys began making your way in the direction of the Hanging Gardens, a area where you have been told you will be able to find a plant called loreweed, which will rid both Wisp and Knock of their warp touch disease. Wisp having multiple sets of eyes on her head now, Knock having a large tongue that allows him to speak deep speech, and fire that sometimes erupts from his shoulders, which allows him to cast some firebolt spells. You guys also in tow had your fallen comrade, Vodder, the Bugbear Cleric, who passed away on episode 12. So it's been a while.
So long ago.
You guys were able to reclaim his body after a daring escape from Halifax, the Alhoon Illithid, and made your way to a Chapel of Valoon, or a gateway as the Velonites called them, which was Vodder's deity. But the gateway was inhabited by another creature, a very creepy, putrid creature known as Rithton the Victorious, the Repulsive Victor, who was a Bullzow, a demon. You guys were able to fight and destroy him. Marcoris, you took his magic item, his pike with the swine head on it, dubbed the Lord of the Flies. And you guys were able to have a much needed moment, Wisp and Knock, a much needed moment where you performed the Velanite funeral ritual for Vodder. There was also a hooded figure who appeared at the funeral that Marcora saw walk in to the area. And as you were leaving, Knock, you noticed as Wisp was walking away, in a mirror, her reflection stayed for a few moments, though it was a vivid, not normal-looking reflection of Wisp. You looked at yourself in the mirror, kind of tried to see if the same thing would happen to you, and it seems not. It seems like your reflection was normal. And you guys continued making your way in the direction of the Hanging Gardens. So, we're doing a little bit of a time skip. You guys have been traveling. It's about a 4-day journey to get to the Hanging Gardens. 4 days journey to the north. Is there anything you guys would have done or are doing in between that time? As you guys have finally been able to properly mourn Wisp and Knock, you guys, after so long, you've been able to mourn the loss of Vodder. Is there anything anybody is doing?
Would we have gotten a long rest within these 4 days?
Absolutely.
I'm assuming. Okay.
Absolutely.
I think most of Marcoris, what he's up to is, other than what he usually does, which is, fill out his TPS reports every night and send them back to the home office and all that, and just communicate back and forth. He's dragging this pike behind him that he got from the demon, this big stick with a pig head at the end of it, and it's just, he hates it. So it's just like, he finds it very, not to put too fine of a word on it, he finds it yucky. And so he's just like sort of careless.
And the thing that like puts you off the most is as you're dragging this behind you, like it is a two-handed weapon, so you do need to use two hands to wield it. It is heavy. The hog's head, the swine head, as always, is moving. Like there are several sets of eyes on it.
It's animated.
It's animated, and there is blood kind of pooling off. Like you've almost got it tipped away so the blood doesn't.
I try to face it away from everyone and just like hold it out here sometimes.
But the thing you do notice is it doesn't seem to have made any squealing noises or anything like that.
That's good.
Since you destroyed Ruth Tom.
He has not attuned to it,
right?
And honestly doesn't want to. So he's kind of just like, he's saying it with him. And there was one time where they set up camp somewhere and he let it like rest against a tree in the middle of the night. He got up to like pee and like saw it, and he had forgotten about it, and it startled him, and he let out a very delicate scream. Just like saw this weird pig head, and he was like, ah! Like that, and then denied it when other folks woke up and asked him what that.
Yeah, the one interruption in your several long rests that you accrued through the night was interrupted by this squeal. And unfortunately, it was nothing. It was just Mark
It wasn't
Morris.
the pig.
It wasn't the pig. It was just Mark Morris. Is there anything else anybody would have wanted to do during that time? Whisper, Knock. As you guys are traveling, Aiden, who for everybody at home was a drow, who had a magic item that allowed him to turn into a hellhound, and it seems for some reason that he is unable to revert to his humanoid form and is stuck in this hellhound form. He's been kind of struggling. You notice he gets hungry very quickly, and as you guys have learned, does not like to eat rations. He will kind of spit them out as he eats them, and he obviously looks kind of sad when he does that, but you guys have had to maybe scrounge for actual meat for him to eat, and things like that. But is there anything, like I said, is there anything else you guys were doing during this 4 days?
I feel, and Wes, please correct me if I'm wrong, that we would have this conversation about what Knock had seen in the mirror. since he was the last one to stay inside of said chapel. So knock during one of our nights sitting around the fire. So that sounds like an appropriate setting. He's over there stuffing his face full of a ration, and he stops suddenly.
I'm like picking at mine almost like a cracker just by eating it tiny bit by bit.
Wisp.
Yes.
I'm not one who likes to dwell on the past, but something has been piquing my curiosity.
I'm Brand.
No, which would be?
You remember the many mirrors during our time burying water
I do.
showed our reflections.
I do.
I approached mine after hearing Varder's voice. He spoke to me. He said, maybe, maybe not. And those
Fitting.
words, they keep replaying in my head. I approached the mirror. And what it did was the same as what but the one next to it. Its reflection of you did not disappear until after you were gone. And even then, it stayed.
You see her put down her ration. She's sitting with her legs crossed, her posture very proper. She just kind of like cocks in like a side glance at you, like, what do you mean? My reflection did not move. How is that possible? I thought that's what they do.
Not this one. No. Instead, when I went to mine, I reached for it and I spoke to it, hoping to get something back, and it was silent. But yours, as soon as you turned around and headed to the front, it stayed, looking only in your direction. And I have no idea what the hell Varder or any of the other, his religion. I mean, that day, I'll admit, he definitely made a believer out of me. But your reflection stayed. Do you have any inkling of what the hell that could mean?
You see her internalize a lot of it, but like you've seen her enough to know that like behind her eyes especially, she's like going a mile a minute. No, maybe I could ponder, could maybe meditate on the thought, but I don't know. I don't know why that would happen. What do mirrors show, if not us?
Varder's god was a god of the in-between. Something where he spoke about where one did not die, one lives, but in essence of what is there.
Maybe
have
I'm
no
stuck in between.
But you're right here in front of me. That makes no sense.
You see her kind of like put her hand to her chest and like make this like weird grabbing motion. What you have inside of you, I don't have inside of me. Not anymore.
Lungs? Is it because all your air is out of sight of your body?
No, part of my order is that we forsake our soul to learn our craft. I don't have what burns inside of most.
Nock's eyes
So-
widen and he rears back a little.
I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but maybe I am in some mortal in between. I'm trying to figure that out. That's why I'm here. Trying to find it. And when she says that, she looks directly at the ground, like from looking at you directly to the ground.
Voice on the log next to Wisp says,
You are being foolish. It's not on the ground, mortal. If it were there, you would have seen it already.
Jerry is like sitting next to Wisp and just mimicking like her posture.
Okay.
And he's been sitting there this whole time. But when he sees you do this, he's
And for any new viewer, who is Jerry? Because he's not your
Jerry is
PC.
No. Jerry is a 2-foot tall imp, whose full name is Jaraxxus, the Devourer of Hope, and he is Marcoris's familiar. But he recently has started following Whisper. They go.
As has the Hellhound, Aiden, actually. As you guys
I'm
noticed,
just attracting a small zoo.
Yeah. And just real quick, just for the sake of maybe anybody who's new here, do you guys want to go around and we do have the character art, but if you guys want to show us your, describe your characters for us, maybe who they are real quick and class.
Yes.
Like that.
So as it pans back to Wisp, she's kind of smirking at this moment at Jerry's comment, and she is a 6 foot tall air genasi. She has completely like pale bluish gray skin, very like pale, almost kind of white in the spectrum. She has a brand in her forehead that is a bunch of lines like in a V formation, and then dots at the end of each of those lines. She has 2 shaved sides of her head with a massive cacophony of braids and dreads that kind of come down to about where her chest lies. And they're just kind of braided all together in a mohawk. And she has this leather band that she wears over it to keep it all back. She's got milky, all white eyes. She doesn't have proper irises. And she is wrapped in traditional monk robes, and she has a very big black kind of cowl that she's now donned instead of her scarf. It's more like a half poncho that kind of buckles in the front. It has a massive hood to kind of hide her hair in if she needs to. And now she does have like proper footwear on because it's winter. So she's got like some leather wrapping and boots and strapping and stuff like that. And she carries all of her stuff in like little rucksack packs on her back. And there's a bunch of them. And one of them sticks out more than the rest, which is the bag of holding that she's carrying.
Amazing. Probably the camera turns and pans over to Nock or Marcoris.
I think Nock first.
Yeah, so Nock still kind of taken back very much about what has happened with this soul in the in-between. There's this look of confusion, but amongst the look of confusion, what you're looking at is a 9 foot tall Goliath barbarian, big enough to be scary to things that are small, and also big enough not to really fit into fucking doors, naturally. He is somebody who is scarred from chest to shoulders, his battle wounds. He is a man who's come to the Vedranis for the seeking of glory and only glory. And this glory is visually put on his belt. He has no shirt on, no armor on his chest, but he does have a fur-like kilt, when then also has this belt with a big, what was that creature that we just fought, my friend? Bullseye, the big bullseye skull sitting right in the middle of that, but also braided around it are leather straps that are hanging from them, 12 to be exact, and only 7 of them are taken up by trophies. he is quested into Vedranis to be able to fill the rest of this championship belt, if you would, with the rest of these trophies so that he can bring it home to his exiled tribe way back in the Garcaean Mountains, to which he helms from. And he also wields an enormous double-sided obsidian great axe that sits on his back always, because the man is always ready for battle. He has white palish eyes with like really big gray rounded eyes, and has which is rare for Goliaths, but he has hair which is like a big braided ponytail. Imagine like a Shaolin monk, but enormous and long. And yeah, that is your boy.
Speaking of, you do have a belt of dwarven kind, and it's been a couple days. If you want to roll me a D100.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, what does this do? Tell me more.
We'll see what you roll. I think you actually might need to roll a couple because it's been a couple days.
14?
14.
How many do you want me to roll?
Roll one more. Okay.
69, funny number.
There you go.
It's like the sex number.
So one of the mornings you wake up and you scratch your face. You scratch your face, which is normally bare, and you've got the beginnings of a beard coming in, which is very unheard of for Goliaths in general.
Yeah, you hear that scream, that Makoris has one day, the other one is just like,
No, I don't want to be like short mountain people. No.
Do you try to remove it or do you leave it?
No, it's one of those things where like I'm just itching at it, and then I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, shit, actually.
Yeah, you look in like a water bucket that's on the side of the street, and you're like, oh, actually.
Wait a minute.
This might just work.
It's like immediate shock, but he's also very upset by it as well, with the fact that it's very unnatural on his face. So he's like, he looks at the dwarven belt and like kind of sees its gleam, and he nods to it, but it's that face of being like, if I find a shaver, I'm gonna fuck this thing up.
No.
Run across a barber.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Marcoris, if you would like to.
Well, seated next to Wisp is, as we met, Jaraxxus, which everyone in the party calls Jerry. Jerry is 2 feet tall. He has red skin, as you would picture like a traditional stereotypical devil to have, and wings, which he currently has wrapped around him because it's cold and he hates it. He's miserable. And out of his backside stretches a long tail that ends in a scorpion stinger. And that's Jaraxxus. But not too far away, inside a tent, on a bedroll, is a man who is about 6 feet tall. He has lovely blonde hair, distinct cheekbones, attractive features. And when you see him walking around, he dresses in fashions that anybody from Vedranis or almost anywhere would see as unusual, as different in style and culture than they're used to. Because he comes from a plane called Eberron, and as the party has figured out, he sometimes goes to different planes on behalf of his organization called the Order of the Emerald Claw, who send him as an ambassador on behalf of a woman named Lady Ilmero, who is also his patron because he's a warlock of the Undying. But he's a business warlock. And so you'll always see him carrying around a clipboard at his side, which he uses to requisition spells from home. But he's snoring right now.
Amazing. So the next few days continue on, and the weather gets harsh. There's a major snowstorm that comes through and delays you a little bit, but you're able to push through. On the 4th day, getting close to the evening, you guys, the party begins traveling down a natural decline. And what you see, you almost picture a crater as you see the cobblestone paths of this giant city are crumbled, and there's dirt kind of picking up into place of the actual cobbled paths that people used to walk on. And ahead of you, some couple miles away, is a vast, dark mass of trees and plants that you can see that go on for miles. You guys, after when you guys left Hallow the first time, I think it's been about 20 days, have finally reached the Hanging Gardens.
So are we standing on this like elevated piece of land that overlooks like this? Oh, I kind of imagine like this like blanket of treetop. It just mangled vegetation. Is that kind of what it looks like?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can see, like I said, you can see different like trees and plant life kind of cascading and whatnot. And
While
you can
we're
also
at this, I was gonna say, while we're at this vantage point, then if I can see the treetop, do we see any sort of light coming from anywhere within the trees, or is it like a super dense? I'm trying to make out if I can see. Yeah, like I'm trying to make out how dense it is. Do I see any light peeking through or smoke of any kind? Anything
go ahead
emanating from the
and
top
make a
of it?
perception check for me.
Okay. Is an 11.
An 11. You do not see any smoke or any lights. From what you can tell, the outer area of this garden, as you haven't heard it being called, has some sparse vegetation, and obviously, as growing closer to the center, is very dense. And Nock, you take a step forward down this incline, and the cobblestone, which is broken and whatnot, you step in, it actually like gives way a little bit to more dirt, as it seems like the whole kind of like area you're in is pretty weak as far as like structurally being sound for the cobblestone. And what you see is the like almost like not like sand, but like the cobblestone just freely gives way and kind of rolls down this crater, and you can see this root of a plant kind of move a little bit towards like away from where the swamp is, or the gardens are, and it's just a brief thing. You almost think it's like a worm or something.
Yeah. Nock kind of observes it, and he takes like a few steps back with his heavy ass. He's like, looks to Wisp, looks to McCorus, looks to the bird.
We have seen building upon building, cobblestone upon cobblestone. If that's not a swamp, then I'm a goddamn gnome.
I mean, way to go, Beefcake. This is, I think you cracked the code. I think we found this swamp, and I'm real proud of you. So 10 points to House Beefcake.
Nock like nods with like approval, but then stops like the third nod in and looks to him.
It's worth 20.
All right, 25. Y'all, this looks like, I mean, it looks like a forest was dropped out of the sky and like,
Looks
boom,
very
you know, like sort of.
placed. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what
Yeah,
I just said. Here,
I
give
don't
credit for
see
this.
any like fire or smoke either. Doesn't seem like many people stay around here.
All right, we're
Why.
supposed to look for what's her face though, right? Lady,
Well,
the lady.
Lady Lure. Yes.
Mm.
Okay, maybe she doesn't need fire. Maybe she's a genasi like you. Maybe she's made out of fire.
That would be interesting. I've never met another genasi.
I thought you were made out of air.
Well, yes, but there's different types of genasis. There's air and fire and earth and wind.
Oh,
Heart.
I'm wind.
I'm learning more.
Yes.
They all worship this guy named Captain Planet. Let's all go down hill.
She like shoots a look at you and just like
Just kidding. I'm just teasing Gust. It's all right.
Go planet. I'm sorry. The whole theme song is now in my head.
she just kind of nods and just smirks and rubs her forehead. Just keeps walking behind everybody.
Can I make a perception check of sorts there, DM? Is there any vines or anything else that has come outstretched up to where the cobblestone is, other than like where that cobblestone landed and then the vine movement? Is like the swamp itself, is it so rooted? Is it just rooted down, or is it rooted down and wide coming up the crater?
Yeah, roll an investigation check.
I'm
if
gonna
you're kinda
investigate
looking-
the shit out of that, DM. Let's take a peek.
Oh my god. Natural 20.
Well,
Um,
some keen barbarian
Our
eyes. right there.
detective Knock is on the case.
So
Just
It literally was
fucking
just like, you
throw
should
out
change your
bones at-
profession to detective.
Screw the belt. Time to stop.
elementary. You,
Elementary back here.
oh no. So as you're kind of looking, you see that little bit of root kind of move. You do see more plant life roots sporadically throughout the cobblestone. And for a moment, as you're looking kind of at the edge where it seems like there's not a distinct line between structure and nature, you swear you see one of the plants move. You don't know if it's the wind, but one of them actually.
Yeah, it's like a slither. Yeah, it's a solid movement. Nock looks in the back and says,
Regardless if this thing plopped down or not, it is not only the doctor that's alive in there. Look.
and he kind of points out to kind of see just like a little bit of the movement, and then says,
This forest is alive. Very alive.
I mean, yeah, technically all forests are alive.
That's not what I meant.
Like, are we in a temperate climate now? Is it still cold and snowing, but this place is just like untouched, or is it warm now?
There is snow. You have not descended, so you don't know, but it is still snowing, and it is cold.
Can Nock looks to his orb friend, which I probably should have done that in the description. I have a tiny man and an orb on my belt as well.
We
Not a
found him,
trophy.
and I gave
It's
him
not
to
so
you,
normal
and I
when you
didn't
say it
wanna
that
do-
way.
Yeah, I didn't want to deal with it, so I gave him to you. Now you're set.
So I have me a little pet boy. Hello, orb boy. Was this forest here before you were inside of the orb, or prior or after? There's a word there I'm looking for. Just can't think of it.
Well, I mean, I haven't been here for quite some time, but anyway, I think you're right, Sir Barbarian. This is the Hanging Gardens. This used to be some sort of like not a nature park or not a zoo, but like a walking park, like in the central part of the city, where people go and spend time on their picnics and things. Anyway, is that all you needed?
Is he saying that? Is he saying is your tour guide saying that like this is a park that's central? The rest of the city.
The Central Park here.
Okay.
But it was not just, it was not stunk, or was it stunk?
Was it stunk?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe if the architecture wasn't structurally sound, it could have sunk in that way, but I'm not quite sure about that.
Nock grabs the orb, useless, and he looks at the rest of the.
All right. Well, let's carefully stay away from these vines and like move our way down the hill, and maybe there'll be a cart selling warm pretzels or something.
While this conversation is going on, Wisp is actually taking off her shoes. And she puts them in her pack, and she's just gonna she's gonna try and feel the vibrations of the earth while they're walking. and just try. She's gonna try to see if there's a way to tell if they're moving in a direction, these vines, or if they're just kind of static and then they start moving, like if they're continuous or if they're static.
Yeah,
She's just gonna see if she picks up on anything.
Okay.
Probably not, but as they're walking, as we continue on down. Mhm.
Perfect. So you guys are heading downward. As you guys continue, you do notice several things. You do notice the air gets a little bit more dense. It does get a little bit warmer, though there is still snow. It almost gets to a certain point and evaporates, and so there's almost a mist that is being created. The other thing you notice is the distinct lack of crows, as you are so familiar with seeing throughout Vedranis. For those of you new to the show, there are crows, the crows of Vedranis, that permeate through the city, protecting its citizens from nefarious things and whatnot. They attacked the party a couple times early on and have since stopped. But you notice a distinct lack of any of that life. Though as you get closer, you do begin to hear water, plant life, and various bits of flora and fauna as you guys ever get ever closer.
The flora and fauna, is it like flowers? Is it just a lot of green, like greenery? Is there anything that really stands out?
Make another perception check for me real quick.
Cool. I'm always on my actions tab, never my abilities. You said perception? Dope.
20.
Dirty 20.
So you guys are rolling really well. The plant life seems maybe larger than you're used to. Some of the ferns and the plants are bigger. The trees are very tall and wild and gnarled. As you reach kind of the edge of the Hanging Gardens, you see, as you're kind of following this cobblestone path, which is very almost a dirt path at this point, but you can still make out little bits of cobblestone. You see a low hanging stone wall and an iron wrought archway. And it says, "Welcome to," and then whatever lettering was before has seemingly fallen off and disappeared and overgrown for however long. And it seems like the nature is definitely reclaiming. You see ivy kind of crawling up the metalwork and moss and things like that. And again, as you guys continue, like you do feel a warmth, a very humid warmth kind of permeating through this area.
Jerry says,
Yes, I find this climate much more appealing. We are heading in the right direction because it is getting warm.
I agree, Bird. Very refreshing indeed.
Yeah, you see, like at this point, I've kind of adjusted my packs to be on one shoulder as I unhook like my cloak and kind of go back into like my full monk garb. You see her kind of dig her toes into the dirt as they're walking, like Wisp is in her happy place again.
of course, undoes one button.
Yes.
Knock, as he's walking, like heading towards like the archway, I'm just gonna slap some like if there's any vine work or anything else like that, or like just to see if it reacts, because I'm curious. I've seen the other one move, so you see Knock like walk up to a tree and he's like,
The tree smacks you back. No, no, nothing happens as you kind of inspect and kind of smack the tree about it.
Man, smack. Give me a sapling.
yeah, I'm just gonna then look over towards the archway. Are we looking at a long road, or is it just like that archway and then just dense forest? Like, is there any essence of the old park before the park became a
Yeah. Go ahead and make a survival check for me, Nog.
I don't know if any of you have ever played the Siberia games, but there's an abandoned greenhouse in one of the sections of the game on it's either in the second or the third one. And that's all I can picture is just this beautiful sign and this like abandoned kind of like green glass and all this stuff. Oh, this is cool.
Very, very Last of Us vibes, I'll say.
Yeah.
It's like when I was gonna go for
Cool.
example.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Very
So
cool.
as you're looking, you're having a hard time picking out a path. It seems that if there was one, it has since been overgrown and overrun.
Okay. I turn to Wisp and McCorus.
Do any of you see any water?
I got water in my bag.
Can I climb a tree?
Yeah, you can certainly try. Go ahead.
Just
and make
like
an
the nearest,
athletics check.
yeah, I just want to try and climb the nearest tree. Athleta.
Jerry
Awesome.
watches Wisp do this
19.
and just like flies straight up in the air next to Wisp.
I got 19.
Yeah, you're able to climb one of the larger trees with relative ease.
Cool. So I gotta prop myself up, and then I want to straddle one of the branches and look out to see if I can see like any waterfalls or just any water, coming from any sort of source.
Go ahead and make a perception check.
Nope.
Can Jerry make one as well? If he's
Yeah, absolutely.
Mimicry? Okay.
Maybe something. I got a 3. So let's hope Jerry could do something. I'm blown away by the wonderment of the scene.
A 10 for
beautiful.
Jaraxxus.
I just love trees.
The canopy is really much too dense to see any of the ground, though both of you are very sure you're not seeing any waterfalls or anything like that.
Cool. So
Do you see
I'll climb
this,
down.
monk? I have found a tree.
I also.
There are leaves in
know
every direction.
who's-
Life is flourishing here. It is disgusting.
And she'll just like start to climb down, just accepting that this is just Jerry.
This is Jerry.
I'll kind of like come down and like plop down into like a crouch position and look up at Nock and just be like,
I don't see any waterfalls, so all the water must be already on the ground. We're looking for a river.
Waterfall, technically.
Waterfall.
Waterfall. All right. Well, then we should move forward. We're trying to find a swamp, and I fought many of things inside of these areas.
I mean, it's human. That's part of it, right? Swamps are human.
What have you fought in one of these?
Lizards, worms,
Worms.
two-legged birds that have legs as long as my body.
Aren't worms really small though?
Not the worms that I have
Technically
fought.
still fighting them. Just get them on the end of a fishing hook.
Okay.
You've never seen bigger worms?
No.
Slip
like
through
a
the
foot?
earth. No.
This is actually the first time I've ever been in this type of climate. I've been in warm climate, but I've never been in this.
Knock nods. This is
It'll be very interesting for you then.
It's gonna be hell on my hair.
Knock grabs his obsidian axe with 2 hands and starts to walk forward, sauntering very slowly through the trail while scanning his eyes left to right.
As you're doing this, Aiden perks up and starts. He lets out a low, like not a growl, but just like a low kind of grumble, and starts sniffing the ground. And he looks at you, and he kind of like looks in a direction off through some of the plant life.
Who's the you he's looking at?
Something.
Knock,
I
sorry.
think, yeah.
Okay, all right. And he points his nostrils in a direction.
Mm-hmm.
He Knock acknowledges, the animal instinct of the dog, and
What do you see? Beast or person?
As he just makes his little husky, yes, he makes his husky noises because he can't talk.
So he just gets real close down to him and says, "Good dog," and starts to walk in that direction. So you see Nock is like on a trail and then like stops, turns, and just fucks off in the other direction.
As soon as you stop and turn, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saw him turn off, so I'm like,
Yeah, like as soon as you stop and turn, I immediately just take out my quarterstaff and I have it in my hand because the pivot that you make is so sharp. It just sets her on edge, and she just like stops and like looks for a second, looks back at my chorus, who's like trying to go after Nock as well, and I'm just like, I shrug. I'll follow.
Jerry follows. Marcoris follows last, and rolls his shoulders back in an exaggerated pout. Like Paul Rudd in Wet Hot American Summer, after he throws his plate on the ground in the dining hall. He's like, oh.
Yeah.
So are you guys, Nock, are you going in a different direction than Iden?
No. Iden pointed his nose in that direction. I'm going in that direction. I'm gonna make this very specific. I am not chopping or using the axe in front of me to chop any flora at all.
Okay.
I'm moving it very gently. Even my steps. I'm stepping on a mushroom. Take a sneak.
Yeah, I'm gonna mimic his movements and try to be. Actually, you know what? I'm going to, in this moment, watching him take those steps and just kind of reading Iden's body language. You see her when she takes her staff and takes it out. You see she starts moving it in a circular direction and starts mumbling some words, and beneath her feet come out that black mist again, and it's going to enshroud everybody's feet, and I'll spend the key points to do Pass Without a Trace.
Okay. Perfect.
So yeah,
pouts behind. As you guys make your way, trying not to disturb any of the plant life here, everybody can roll me a stealth check and add +10 if they are within 30 feet of Wisp.
17, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Here, baby.
It's a 25.
That is a 25 as well.
Okay.
And Jerry is invisible. And so can I roll with advantage there?
Yes, you
Advantage and +10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jerry rolls a 24.
24. Okay, perfect. So you guys begin slowly making your way through this kind of jungle-ish landscape, and you do have to move some of the plants, but you're very careful of not to destroy or hurt anything. You guys move for 10 minutes, taking note of, just the various plant life in the area. And soon there's a moment where Nock, you step forward and there's a splash as you hit a little bit of water. Not much, but there is now a kind of placid level of water here. And ahead, you all see what looks to be a clearing. There's enough to where the plant life seems to have been cut down in this area. And you see a figure that seems to be leaning up against one of the large trees.
I'll stop and just kind of like look at both of them in between them and just kind of say, is that who we're supposed to be meeting?
And without a word, Jerry darts forward invisibly to take a closer look at this thing.
Well, it's someone.
Nock kind of like
I'm sending Jerry. Y'all can't see him. I'm sending him.
Yeah. Nock moves a little bit to the left, kind of like to rotate around to keep his eye on the person. Just slow movement.
Yeah, if you're moving to the left, I'll keep in the center, and then I'll like kind of motion to go to the right to Marcoris, so we can kind of like create a little ring, just in case anything happens. Everyone has a vantage point.
Everyone spread out. Sure. I'm used to here and be a hellhound.
So you guys begin kind of circling around, and the figure doesn't seem to move or acknowledge your presence.
Can I get a look at this thing? I mean, we got any details other than a figure?
Once Jerry gets close enough, absolutely. Kind of what we see is kind of the pan around from Jerry's point of view as he kind of flies and drifts around, and he sees a figure in a dark robe with a hood and feathers kind of peeking up above the hood, and a very familiar looking plague mask, though it has been cracked in half. And what we see is a Kyrogen, clearly dead, long since passed. So much so that the tree that they're leaning up against is almost wrapped around them. And you can see branches almost gripping them and pulling them into the tree. As Jerry kind of looks at his face, and Wisp and Nock, you kind of close in, you can see his face. And it is just, his mouth is open and his eyes are wide, or at least the one eye that you can see is wide, and there is a state of decay there, but there is this kind of greenish and purple, like where his veins would be, they're green and purple, and there is just this plant life that is just beginning to cover and reclaim the area which this Kyrogen was, where he is.
Nock is just shaking his head slowly as they approach to kind of get more of the eyesight on this man. And he just...
You know, if it's not the goddamn plague created by these damn bastards, it's the damn trees now that they're gonna go ahead and consume us.
This is the second time we've seen something like this, correct?
We saw this in like the cinematic.
Okay, okay.
The characters have never seen this.
Thank you for those
Gotcha.
quotations, by the way. That was beautiful.
Yeah, I was like, it sounds so familiar. I can't remember if I saw it or if it was a thing.
Jerry speaks up and he says,
This Kyrogen was obviously weak to lose a fight with this tree. He must have been very slow to stand here and let the vines crawl over him.
Maybe it wasn't.
I could
slow.
have beaten him easily.
Can I walk up to it and see, like, the flora and fauna is on there, like, it's being decayed and eaten, but does it look like it's been decayed for a long time? Like, it's taken a while to grow into this tree? Or does it look like the tree kind of enveloped it and then it was, like, an immediate thing?
You can either make a nature check or a medicine check.
Okay, I would like to make nature, because I know nothing about medicine.
Okay.
11.
11. It's tough to determine.
Cool.
It
Alright.
looks like it could be either, to be perfectly honest, but being in such a foreign place, it's hard for you to pinpoint.
I can't tell if it's decay by fast means, by being enveloped, or if this happens over a long period of time, but luckily we're not Kyrogen, so maybe we won't meet the same fate. I do believe Kyrogen aren't welcome here.
And she'll look up at the canopy.
I haven't seen any of the crows.
As you look up, you do see crows.
Fake.
They're dead.
Fake news. Fake news.
As you see the canopy, you see branches and vines literally hanging through the canopy, and wrapped and entrapped within these vines and branches, you see
Great.
hundreds of
Yep.
crows in various states of decay.
Man, they
I'll
don't
point
like
up.
'em.
Yeah, I'll point up and just be like,
As you can probably tell, I think most of the canopy.
we all
is staying
slowly in
roots.
unison look up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like,
That's how I imagined it too.
Well,
It's a hell of a security
luckily we
system.
are not Kyrogen.
she just kind of like looks
We
back
are not
down at the-
Kyrogen, he says really loud.
Everybody make a perception check for me.
Oh, no.
What
8.
does that do?
We are not Kyrogen.
13.
Okay, so we have a 13, an 8, and a 13.
See.
You're not seeing anything. You just or hearing anything at the moment. Just the kind of creaking sounds of the vines as they're moving.
Jerry's going to fly up and try to knock one of the crows free,
Okay.
and so it falls to the ground. He's smart enough not to try and cut the vines. He's going to try to wiggle one of these crows out of one.
Okay. So what we so yeah, he kind of goes, and how is he trying to describe, I guess, what he's
Right. So if it's possible to like unwrap one of the dead crows,
okay.
you know, he's like trying to wrestle it free, and he's trying to knock it to the ground below.
Okay. So as he's go ahead and have Jerry make an athletics check as he begins to kind of like try to free this dead crow. It's very tight. This vine's almost not.
Oh, don't worry.
Mm-hmm. We know how
Jerry's
strong he is.
A beast. 4.
Okay.
We know how he struggled with doors before in the past.
Yeah. So he's like trying to work on it, and it's not really moving. And all of a sudden, Jerry hears branches and leaves go, and all of a sudden, a vine shoots out of the canopy and wraps him up. It rolled a 21 to hit.
Nope.
and does 9 points of bludgeoning damage to Jerry.
Nice, excellent. And as we're all familiar, Jerry has 10 points total, so he's still alive.
Okay. Jerry is grappled and is struggling to break
and
free.
Marcoris is like, oh, Jerry's in Jerry's like,
Help me! Get me
How
out of
high
here.
is he up in the air?
Like 30 feet, maybe. Like he's pretty high up there.
Okay.
Yeah. Nock looks up at the bird and then looks down to kind of just upset, like see what the rest of the other people are doing, and he just says,
Don't do it.
I'm gonna see if I can throw a dart to try and sever the vine. To try and get him down if that's possible. Because I don't want to climb that. I don't want to climb that.
Yeah, you can. You can try.
Okay. Okay. Where are my darts? Oh God, I don't have them equipped. I'm so sorry. Dart.
Throw a
Here we go.
stick.
Yeah, throw a stick. Okay, here we go. That is a 9 to hit.
A 9, you miss as you throw, and it just kind of disappears into the branches. All of a sudden, though, as it looks like this vine is about to choke the life out of poor Jerry, and all of a sudden you hear a snap, like a whip, like a crack, and it lets him go, and it just retreats back into the canopy.
Jerry floats to the ground, obviously bruised. And it's like,
I have defeated the vines.
Can everybody make me another perception check, please?
I need to stop existing with these
Natural-
rolls.
4 natural 1.
I would
it's a 10 for me. I won't roll for Jerry. He's too.
Yeah. Marcoris, as this happened, kind of beneath the sound of the crack of the vine, you hear a...
Y'all hear that?
No.
No. What
There's
was it?
something, and he points in the direction that it sounds coming from. It's like, just everybody be ready. And he pulls out his rod. He pulls out his spellcasting rod, and Jerry is like barely on his feet, and Jerry's like tail raises up, but he's like teetering.
kind of looking in a northern direction, kind of scanning the tree line. You see lots of green, and you see some rocks that are kind of protruding out, but you're not seeing anything else.
I swear, y'all, I heard something. I'm going to cast Detect Magic.
Okay.
With my Warlock patron feature and just sort of scan, like, you know.
Okay. What's
One of
the
those.
distance on your Detect Magic?
Ooh, okay. Detect Magic. That is a 30-foot sphere, starting with myself, and it lasts for 10 minutes, as long as I'm concentrating. So I'm doing a 10-minute, like, I'm going to, like, scan and sort of, like, move towards the sound gradually.
Okay. So, yeah, when you first cast it, you're not detecting anything. But obviously this clearing is much larger than that. And you're saying you're, like, going closer to the sound?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Everybody just, y'all be ready to jump in and save my ass, all right? Creeps forward, looking towards where he heard the sound coming from.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you're
knock
kind
something
of...
back down.
And you can see Aiden kind of sniffing around. He's like... kind of like starts kind of going zigzag circles around the clearing and whatnot. And you keep, moving ever closer to where you thought you heard the sound. Keeping your eyes open and peeled for any movement, any sounds that are not just the sounds of the, area that you're in. You travel 30 feet till you get close to the edge, and you're kind of scanning. And as you're just at the edge, just at your peripheral vision, you see glowing.
Oh, is it the kind of glowing of hey, there's magic?
Yes.
Is it that kind that says hey, there's magic?
It says, hey, there's magic.
Hey,
You've got
It's
mail.
written in glowing
You see
letters.
magic.
You've got mail. Right. Y'all, I just got a magic alert. Oh. Right there, and I'm going to... Is it too far to see?
It seems relatively close. And all of a sudden,
Okay.
there's just a mass of fog that envelops the area.
Uh-oh.
All right, okay. And
Did you do that, Wiz? Is that you?
no, it's not me.
We're not Kyrogen!
We're not...
And you guys are all of a sudden now enveloped in this, or like you're like 10 feet away, I guess, from this mist or whatever it is. It's it just kind of like seeped out of the trees and out of the bushes.
I'm gonna
Jerry
move.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say Jerry with 1 hit point strides forward confidently.
Okay.
I will follow
And-
Jerry. I'll move in his stead.
It's a little like... And I do want to re-emphasize that Jerry, for a 2-foot-tall imp, is like just ripped. Like he lifts tiny, tiny weights every
Yeah,
day.
he's
And
uncomfortably
he just sort of
ripped.
like strides forward and he's like,
Show yourself. Bow before Jaraxxus, devourer of hope. Marcorus, lord of the pit, also whisking. Not.
You might hear a little.
This is not a joke. Do not laugh at me, Cloud.
Said you are a pretty funny bird.
I'm hilarious when I want to be.
Whatever is close enough to hear would hear. If you're not Kyrogen, what are you?
Air Genasi. I punch things. And she's just kind of like looking around.
It's just fog. Just
Yeah. She doesn't know where this is it kind of like one of those like you can't tell where the voice is coming from, or is it more of like if I focus I could have a pointed direction?
it would be a point of direction, but kind of like a muted like
Okay.
almost like the voice is coming through something solid and fog. So it's
Okay.
distant in a way, but it's coming from one direction.
Jerry says, again, I am Jaraxxus. I am a powerful devil and commander of Hell's 7th Legion.
How wonderful.
Yes, it is.
Are
I like
these
this fog now.
your dogs?
That is
That is my
Ogden.
dog.
He used to be a
We do
drow.
have a dog. We do
Yeah, we
have a dog. He must have found a frog. I apologize.
I love dogs.
Ogden, introduce yourself.
Do you have a name?
There we go. Great. Yeah, real good.
First, your names.
Knock is like slapping at the fog.
I'm
Knock.
and this is Jerry.
I'm Marcors Dag, Order of the Emerald Claw. To whom do we have the pleasure of speaking?
Lady Lure stands before.
Hey!
And then the
Found
fog
her.
just clears out, and standing tall, about 10 feet tall, is a very long figure. And the base looks like a tree. And there's this like cloak sort of comes down, blends in with the bark, and sort of speckled all over it are little mushrooms. And a little hand is holding out a staff that's kind of like a gnarled branch. And where it opens up at the top is like a macrame spider web of some sort of material that's been woven together, and hanging off of it are all these like long pieces of nature that sort of have various colored petals on the end, and a large hood, and her muted voice is coming through a very bright white colored skull, like a deer skull almost, that sort of comes to a long point. And that's the figure that you see before you.
Knock, for the very first time in a long time, looks up.
And the skull is, aimed down, obviously. Also on this cloak are just ribbons and ribbons and ribbons, almost like big chunks of like yak fur or something, like just really long, but it's not fur. It's some kind of like a woven material that's just draped really heavy, like a mantle around her shoulders, and then poking through her every once in a while, just these mushrooms that appear. And she says, "Welcome to my gardens. Why are you here?"
Knock takes 2 steps forward, still looking up at her,
Because of this.
and opens up his mouth and lets his giant demonic tongue come out and just slither around his face. It just kind of like licks his forehead and around his cheek and whatnot, and then sucks it back in.
We are sick.
Hmm.
I ain't sick.
And
Fine.
she looks over at you as you say, "I'm not sick," and doesn't move.
What?
And then she looks back over to the tongued one. "I see. Yes. You've been marked by the terrors and the darkness."
I have seen much darkness, many terrors, but this ailment. We have been questioned to come and find you, for you are the only one who can help us.
"Who sent you?"
And he does hang his head though and says,
We've already lost one.
those who are lost are not lost forever.
Nobody really sent us. I mean, we gather the information on our own, right? Y'all did?
We did, yes. We're sent on our own accord to try and heal.
And then looking around at sort of really briefly back at the dead chirurgeon, he says, had to finagle a bunch of chirurgeons to give us the information we need.
Oh, my crows. My friends, I'm not sure I could prevent all of this. And she kind of points forward. Like, towards the chirurgeon.
They look back.
Prevent what, exactly?
The darkness, the horrible things that are ruining my gardens. You have problems, and so do I.
Well, maybe we can scratch each other's tree trunks.
And like her like the skull like looks down, and did you hear that? Oh, pity.
Who are you talking to?
And the skull just comes back over and looks at you. Just real slowly.
I like her. She's fun.
Okay. Well, can you help us with this?
And she like uncloaks, or like she is uncloaked, but she kind of like gestures to the eyeballs that are kind of all over her, as well as like pointing to Knock.
There's a pause, and she's kind of like in the hand that holds her staff, just kind of like starts to slowly twirl, and the twirling just gets faster and faster and faster, and the ground or the space kind of beside her, the flora and fauna beside her starts to kind of like pop out. Little like a blossom will appear and then it disappear. Another one. It's almost like you can see her thinking, and the nature around her is responding. There's like a rustling sound of an animal that kind of goes by, and there's just this activity that kind of begins. And after a moment, she says, "The answer is yes, but..." And her other hand comes up. Little dainty hand. "Yes, but I can't make what you need. I don't have the ingredients."
Is there a way for us to find them?
Depends on how powerful you are, of course. Of course.
Not
I am very powerful.
yeah.
I have slain many enemies, protected all of these mortals.
Said, we have been through, and have fought many in Vedranis. I come here far away from here for seeking glory. And through this, I have fought many things, killed many things, lost many things. We're told that your loreweed, your plant, can help us. We are strong. We are conditioned. What is it that you need?
This figure begins to lean forward, and like the skull sort of, as you're talking, like almost like just getting closer and listening. And then as you're speaking, just sort of like a little quiver happens. And this like, it's almost like all of the mantle shifts forward a little bit, and all of her weight kind of comes like, it's almost like she'd be looming over you.
Yeah, Nock's a little intimidated.
Well, oddly though, at one point when the tipping begins, something begins to happen, and this figure that looks so intimidating and impressive and looming begins to fall down. And you see this, I'll just describe a little bit more clear, a little 4 foot tall individual tumble off of a tree stump and begin to just tung, 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 down. I rolled a 2 for my dexterity a moment ago privately. And so she lands on the ground, and what you see is trailing like under her legs is fabric, just yards of fabric that was cleverly draped over a tree trunk to give her height, to make her appear larger. And she's sort of like crumpled on the ground, and her little mask just sort of knocks off to the side, and she's just looking up at all of you from the ground now. Lady Lore has a very childlike face, big doe eyes, very small, dainty features. She's very, very pale. She has heterochromia, so one eye is blue and one eye is brown. The lighter kind of blue eye is, interestingly, kind of a milky sort of appearance. She cuts her own hair, so she has like that really awkward, she's got like a really thick hair, but it's like the really too high bangs that sort of like are at like all these different angles. And but like down the back of her, it's just this wild mane of thick hair, but at the base of it are just almost like what we would call dreads in a way. She's woven in this material, and it's just almost looks like long hair, but it's all kind of basically attached here. So that is what she actually looks like. And she says, "Oh, Biddy. Oh, Biddy."
Nock looks very unimpressed as he like tumble down, looking down at what was now looking up. Looks back to the rest of the party.
I'm really sick of illusions.
Yeah, I look down at her and I say, is there anything else you want to be forward with?
Other than your size?
Yo, I mean, this is what she's doing, right? She's being forward with us. Lady Lore, a pleasure to meet you. And he does like a little half bow toward her and says, so this is your swamp. Maybe you can help us find these ingredients, and in return, help you with whatever you might need.
She slowly kind of goes onto her knees, and she's listening to you, like, but she is almost like boring into you in a way. And she's looking at your clothes, and it's almost like she's completely distracted by your appearance. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
Help you find the ingredients to make to cure the tongue.
For tea.
And she's got eyes, and also
She's got eyes. Yes.
eyes a dog. Yeah.
You're from Hebron?
Yeah. Yeah. You've heard from you. Have you been to Eberron?
Purple Jewel. Mm-hmm. Galafin's crown? I remember some.
Holy Moses. Okay.
I haven't seen clothes like that in so long.
Well, I have to apologize. They're not at their cleanest. I usually try to make a good first impression, but we were in a...
I have a swamp.
Yeah.
Oh, we can wash our clothes. and she just gets up and starts gathering all of her clothes, and she's like, so she's got all these yards of fabric, and she starts and they pin up, so that she's like pinning them all up like around her hips. She's like, this is gonna be so exciting. She's pinning them up, and then she like turns and she's like, I'll help you, and then she just starts running.
Follow her. And Marcourse takes off after her.
Nock is so confused right now. There's just nothing but just like a flabbergasted face of just.
I am all, yeah, Wisp is also like mimicking that, just like, and then she's like pointing, she's like,
we should follow.
She. Yep. She has a swamp. Come to see a person who's smart enough to go ahead and make this work. And that is what we find.
Just as you say that, she comes running back because she forgot her mask, and she grabs it. She's like, oops, and then she just stares up again.
Nock just like utter defeat on his face. He's like,
I was looking forward to fighting an enormous worm. He just begrudgingly.
I pat him like on his elbow because that's all I can reach, and I just like pat him on the elbow. And I take my staff and I like put it back in my bag. And I just like, all right. And I dig my heels and my toes into the dirt one more time, and I'm gonna follow. I'm just gonna walk. I'm not running. I'm just gonna walk after the children.
And
That's great.
And the last thing we see before we take our break is like the begrudging Nock and Wisp just like make their way into the dense foliage and disappear as they're trying to figure out what the fuck just happened.
No.
But yeah, that is where we'll take our first break, everybody. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thank you for all the follows. Sunflower, thank you so much for the raid, and thank you for all the follows as well. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate you. And Danae, thank you as well. That was an amazing intro. So good.
Good.
Yep. I know Justin's, yeah.
I'm losing my shit.
This is so fucking cool. This is so fucking cool.
We will see what happens after our break. We'll be back in 7 to 10 minutes. So grab a drink, grab a snack, and we'll see what happens after. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Oh, god damn it. Welcome back. Derek, you son of a bitch.
I was waiting. I didn't think he was gonna do it.
I thought someone was gonna say something right at the last second to make me laugh, and no, he played a noise.
Fart jokes win every time.
Oh my goodness gracious. We wouldn't have anybody here if they knew half the shit that was said in the green room.
They'd be like, we want to sub to that show too.
We want that show as well, exactly.
As well.
Exactly. Well, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. So Marcoris, you're running after
Yeah, he just met this strange little woman who mentioned Eberonian things that he hasn't heard of in a while. So he's hooked by this lure, and so he's gonna run after her.
Okay.
Jerry following behind.
Perfect. All right. So if you're running and Lady Lure is also running and whoever else is chasing, I'm gonna need some initiative rolls.
Okay. So we're walking behind
You're
them.
walking.
Yeah,
Would we
it's like
know?
a-
Would
it's like
we
a
have any idea that this
depressing
is even happening right now?
I mean, you saw Marcoris run through the bush as following Lady Lure because she also took off.
Okay. Then I'll roll.
When I clicked my little thing, it gave me a weird message, but mine is 11.
11. Okay. Let me add
Got
you.
We don't have
13.
tokens.
13. I have your little cute picture up. Oh my gosh. Your character art is so cute tonight.
Oh, do you like her? Did she
Marcoris?
just pop up?
We can see her through the roll 20. Like we can pop up her picture. It's really
Isn't she so cute?
Marcoris got a 10 and Jerry got an 11.
Oh, Jerry.
Jerry is very interested in this large.
Jerry as well. Okay, so Jerry is running.
So,
Jerry's
clarifying question: do we know what we're running towards?
Nope.
Okay, I just
chasing
wanted
this
to make sure.
strange-
No, you are just running into.
Okay. Oh, wonderful. Okay.
And Jerry rolled an
It's okay.
18.
I rolled a 10, Jerry rolled 11.
11. Okay. Why does it show 18 for
Oh,
me?
that's weird. Yeah, it rolled it twice. No, he should have an 11.
11. Okay.
I think
So
he probably clicked it twice.
what I'm gonna
like a champ.
say is, since I guess like for clarifying question from me, Knock and Wisp, were you guys walking or do you want to retcon that you were running after them? Because
I was sauntering. I was
sauntering,
not
yeah.
in any rush. I did not think anything bad was happening. I just thought he was running after her because she wanted to show him something. I didn't think there was any danger, so I was sauntering.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if you were sauntering, I'm gonna say that you're gonna start a turn later.
That's fine. Absolutely. That's totally fine.
So okay. So Lady Lure, you are up first.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, so this little 4'11" person with just this garb all over her is running through foliage and almost delightfully not paying attention. This is her domain. So she's leaping and, but mostly she's turning around and she's making sure that her new Eberron buddy is following.
Yes.
And so like if he gets far enough away, she'll stop and be like waving and be like, come on, and
Okay.
she's just sort of like going in her destination.
So you're not double moving at all. You're just kind of moving your normal speed. And,
Yeah.
and
She's
waiting
not
for
trying to
him.
lose anybody. She's just like, okay, this guy needs clean clothes. Let's get this man clean
Okay.
clothes.
And I'll say what you see is you turn back and you kind of wait for Marcoris a little bit, and then you turn back and as you're kind of jaunting through, you also see a white rabbit jaunting through ahead of you, as always.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's your turn. You just kind of keep going, and behind you, you see Jaraxxus, the Devourer of Hope, trying to keep pace. Jerry is up next.
Jerry just tries to catch up with her and is shouting the whole time vague and egotistical things.
Like, come back, large woman.
Okay.
So,
If
She'd throw back like, keep up, Devourer.
yeah,
I will. Yes.
Jerry can get very close, I'd say. If he double moves, he can get like right up next to her, but then she saunters off again.
yes.
Tantalizing.
Okay, and then Marcoris.
Marcoris is also just sort of trying to keep pace, but is half trying not to step in puddles or any marshy bits, and is like very concerned about his shoes and things like that.
Okay, so yeah, you're like, oh god, kind of.
All right, okay, and he's like jumping from log to log, and you know what I mean, just trying to stay out of anything muddy or anything like that.
Okay, and then Knock. Were you walking as well? So were we?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. It is a very depressing. It's a very depressing start of just like such a long journey to get all the way over here. This massive creature, and then that.
I just always see Knock as the Hulk from Endgame. Just the so many stairs moment where he's just like pouts. He's like, so many stairs, and he's just pouting down. Okay, perfect. Lady Lore, it is your turn next. You have to make a very sharp kind of diagonal right turn to get through this clearing in the path that you know so well. And you remember that you have a friend who's on the ground that you need to jump over. So I need you to make an athletics check with advantage. You're muted.
She doesn't wear closed-toed shoes, so you know she starts to get caught up in some branches a little bit there, and then maybe does a little bit of a better job.
Yeah, and maybe I can almost see it as maybe instead of like tripping,
Yeah,
you stop and say hi.
yeah. She's like, "Glut. Hi. Oh, pity." She's like holding her mask in one arm, and she's like saying hello to Rabbit in the other, and she's looking over her shoulder.
Well, and I'll say that this friend is not the rabbit.
Oh,
it's,
okay.
Something else.
Oh.
It is something else. I will say
hello.
that you're so used to seeing.
Oh, yeah, all the
You
time.
don't pay any mind to it anymore because you're so
hello.
used to it. But you stop and say hello, and then you kind of keep on going.
Okay.
Wisp. You now lose Lady Lore and Jaraxxus. You do see Marcoris for a minute kind of hobble around a little puddle and then disappear into some bushes.
Yeah, I'll just double move to kind of like, I'll kind of see what they're doing and realizing that they are genuinely like running off and get a little bit apprehensive at that. And I'm gonna slap Nox's thigh and just kind of like give him the look that I'm gonna start taking off, and I'm going to I'll properly take off like Roadrunner, and I'll double move. So I'll move 90 feet. Yeah, I have 90 feet of movement. Yeah.
Yeah, she's fast.
I know.
Yeah,
right?
I'm Naruto running through this bitch right now. Okay.
God, I'm trying to think because I'm doing theater of the mind of distances. I dare say you can get also like
She gets
very
close to Marcoris.
to Marcoris at this point.
Yeah.
You catch up as you're just
Right.
Okay, so yeah, I wanna kind of like do that, and if I can, I wanna just kind of make sure that I'm also being nimble, not trying to miss things, but I'm just trying to be nimble moving through the area.
Sure.
And as I reach up to Marcoris, I'll just kind of like tap him on the shoulder and just
Like,
What's going on?
well, she mentioned a bunch of things. Like he's trying to like, catch her up on this whole thing. He's like, she mentioned a bunch of things from Emberon. Also, I mean, she's going somewhere. We need her, right? So we can get rid of your eyes. I mean, not all your eyes. I mean, we keep 2 of your eyes, but we gotta get rid of this.
Oh, okay.
extras.
And I'm just like, I've slowed
I mean,
to
you catch up
a
with it,
nice
go ahead.
jog. Yeah, I've sauntered to a nice jog now, and I'm just like casually jogging along.
Right, and Marcoris is like running full tilt now.
Yeah.
trying to keep up with Wisp, who's jogging.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's like me trying to exercise.
Yeah, same. It is Jerry's turn. Jerry makes that sharp right, kind of keeping in at pace with Lady Lure. Does not have to
I think Jerry
deviate
wants.
across the.
I mean, if he's gonna
friend.
double move or something like that, Jerry wants to get as close to them as possible.
Okay. Yeah,
He's very interested in the rabbit.
He doesn't see a rabbit.
Okay, never mind.
And then yeah, like I said, the friend he just flies over. He sees. Make a perception check.
Oh, okay. Jerry perception check.
With just make a perception check. Yeah.
Okay. A 3.
A 3.
A 3.
I see some. He doesn't see anything. He just like is so honed in on keeping up
pace.
with Lady Lure that that he doesn't pay any mind to it. But it is Marcoris's turn. You take the same right. I need you to make an athletics check as all of a sudden you see like some rocks or something.
Rocks or something. And he rolls a 4.
You trip and face plant in a face full of mud. And you kind of like wipe your eyes, and you, as you look and you see what you tripped over, you stop immediately. And you're just kind of dumbfounded at what you see.
Before he sees this, he raises up his hand to make sure that green bead in his hair is still there.
It's still there.
That's it. Okay,
Yes.
and then he sees whatever he sees.
I will. Let's see. You see a statue, or what you think is a statue for a moment, and then the heavy realization hits you. You see a construct made of wood and stone that you've never seen here on Vedranis, but you've seen
Is that a
hundreds
warforged?
of times in Eberron. You see a warforged that is covered in plants and vines and moss, and you're just kind of staring at it for a second.
I mean, he's dumbfounded.
Knock, it is your turn.
That's me. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my goddamn headset on the charger. And I can hear words. Okay, so I am going to I get slapped in the thigh by Wisp, and like it's like just like immediate shock, small hand, you know. And he takes off. But she takes off. I look at her, and he just rolls his big old neck around. He doesn't pick up pace. He just follows the footsteps. He just is just as he can. He just is still thinking to himself.
We found the woman, we found the lore weed. Now we need to go gather things, and now we need to put these things together. What was the point of coming to this damn swamp? I could have probably done the damn thing myself, read a book. Wait, I don't know how to read. One thing at a time.
And he's just slowly grumbling to himself as he's just pushing things out of the way. And
Yeah.
but he's at a decent pace and just walking. We'll say that he ends up walking at least his normal speed and then doubling up about halfway into his journey. After seeing like the log jumping of the boots of Macoris, he's like, all right. He just walks over them and continues to move.
And yeah, so we got to see like Nox splashing around, and then you hear Halifax.
Well, I want to see what's going on. Why don't you pick up the pace a little bit?
Do you know how long I have waited?
I've dealt with this, and he like puts his tongue out again, speaking deep speech, and he's just like, he sucks it back in.
I want the hell out of here.
Well, you're heading the wrong direction for that, Sonic Jim.
And it's Lady Lore's turn.
So, because she's paying attention, she might have seen her new buddy fall into the mud and stop. So she might kind of stop and like turn and just like watch for a moment, and say something like, "Oh, yes, you're going to need to wash those clothes. Yeah, you're going to need to wash those clothes."
So, you have is that? And he's just sort of stammering.
And she's looking back and forth between what he's looking at.
It's a war. Is that a warforged?
Warforged. It's a great name.
Yeah, like okay. And he's like slowly gets to his feet.
Okay, perfect. Wisp.
I'm gonna keep up and kind of like when I get to, I'm gonna just like keep sprinting, and then when I catch up to where Marcoris is and he fell and he's looking at this thing, I'm gonna kind of have one of those moments where I run and then kind of like stumble and like catch myself, and as I look up, like, and I look down at Marcoris. What is that?
Warfish. What? It's a warforged. It's like a. I think it's like slice of home. I guess.
Okay.
It's like a robot. Have you ever seen a robot?
And she like slowly takes out her staff and just like holds it with the one, like does the twirl and like.
No, it's I mean, unless
one
it's...
hand, and she's just like looking at it. She does not have any inkling of what this is, or what it means. So she's just kind of being like very uncomfortable and unaware of how to approach what is going on. And that'll be your turn.
Okay.
Already in action if it seems to move or be aggressive in our direction, I will ready like a one-handed attack.
Okay. Perfect. It is Jerry's turn.
Jerry flies in close and hovers. Basically, Jerry is going to hover in the air and go into sort of defensive mode. He's like just above everyone, scanning the area, trying to figure out where they are and where they're going. Oh, you're muted, buddy.
Thank you. Okay, so yeah, he's kind of
just looking for threats. You know, he's being Jerry.
Looking for threats. And it is Marcoris' turn.
Okay. Hey, Lady Lure, clothes, yes, I do want to get these washed. Where are we going?
Home.
Your home? My home?
My home.
Oh, okay.
But first, Warfitch needs a crown. And she'll like reach over, and any of the places where there's, you know, like plant life growing around, it'll just go, and like little buds and things she'll just touch it, and she'll like bow to it, and then
now
she'll
he's King
take off running again.
And he like, before she does that, like he humors her and like, and also does like a little bow towards King Warfitch.
She approves of this.
Perfect. Alrighty. Knock. I would say at your walking speed, you end up turning this like kind of right diagonal corner, and you see kind of like the whole group just kind of now standing there around something. You can't quite make it out from where you're at. You could obviously like walk up and see what it is, but you kind of see the whole group now not running anymore in front of you, some 35 feet.
Knock approaches. At some point, I realize this is a statue. Yes.
You're not sure. Do you walk up to it?
I'm walking up to the party. I'm like at regular pace and walk up to him, and you know, see the face first body mud print of Marcoris.
Yeah.
And
so you do see what maybe Nock would consider a statue. It's made, like I said, of stone, but there's wood kind of inlaid with the stone that's vaguely humanoid. But it's laying down. It's not laying down. It's slumped.
It's slumped.
It's kind of like the Kyrogen was. But it's not standing. It's not like planked or anything, like laying down. It's just kind of slumped.
It's not planked. Nock looks at the statue and has that angry face that Nock puts on every time he sees a certain stone-like structure that's not him.
You're even here as well? Damn!
And he like face goes. He like looks. He stands up really tall.
I'll get mine eventually, even if they put in this damn swamp too.
That's a call. For those viewing for the first time, Nock has a problem with statues.
he's got. I don't even know what you'd call
I
it.
think while he's doing this, I
jealousy
lean
and
down. I crouch down very quietly, and whisper in Marcoris's ear.
He has a problem with statues.
We gotta get this guy a statue.
Glory,
Glory.
the belt.
Actually,
know, like,
Marcos would know
slowly
this. It may have come up. But
I don't know if it did, so I'm just reiterating.
I mean, it's clear. This guy wants a statue.
Yeah.
Knock looks at it though, and he's like, he also has this unimpressed look. He goes,
They didn't even finish it all with rock. Look at it. Look
Oh,
at
it's just lazy. It's
it.
just
The
lazy.
artistry is just garbage.
Piece. It's supposed to be part of the land, but not part of the land. It's art. Knock.
There was conversation just long enough. Like, Laura was about to run away, and then she kind of watches everybody pause, and so she just kind of like comes back, and she's like, she looks at the Genasi, and she's like, "You understand?
No,
Oh.
no.
Let's go."
And I'll just kind of watch her go and follow suit.
okay. Knock takes extra little bit long to stare at the statue, and then turns and runs in the same direction. Now at a jog. This is my
Okay.
jogging face.
Marcoris, are you doing anything else?
Just moving, trying to keep up.
Okay,
and
so there's like
simultaneously trying to get mud off.
Yeah. So there's a lingering view of you looking at this. Something you'd never think you'd see here, and kind of keep going on. I'll say that you guys are able to relatively keep pace with Lady Lore as she's stopping and waiting for you guys to catch up. And after some maybe 10 minutes, it opens up to Lady Lore, if you would like to describe your little
Habitat.
area. Habitat.
Yeah, so you all kind of come around, and the scene kind of opens up to where the horizon was once like wood and vine and all this sort of nature. There's not much on the horizon because it's water, but on the edge of the water, you see the outline of a really big willow tree, and it's technically in the water, just a little bit like a little tiny little island, and growing around the base of it are just mounds and mounds of vegetation. Like you can't even see what is really there almost. And she waits for everyone to arrive because she's very excited for company. It looks like she's kind of like a kid, sort of like. And everyone gets there, and then she says, "All right, one rule: don't touch anything unless I tell you. Okay, all right." And then she goes around this little kind of like a little dip in the water or a dip in the earth and disappears. And those that follow, there is a tunnel, and she's 4'11", so it's.
I ain't fitting in that bitch.
For larger folk,
You got,
It's like Winnie the Pooh action.
you got a back door.
pop back out. And can you swim?
Yes, he says begrudgingly.
It's not like too far out to the little island. It's really not. Maybe 40, 50 feet at like the 2 points that are like the closest on the water. But for those that follow in the tunnel,
I will turn to Knock, and I will hand him 50 feet of rope, and I will tie it around his waist, and I'm gonna cast levitate on him. And I'll just smack him on the elbow again and just be like, "Good luck." And
Slow,
Pushing across the
like
water.
the Macy Day
Yeah.
parade.
Yeah, exactly. Knox just, oh my God.
What is up with you trying to turn me into a balloon?
It's the second time, Wisp! As I'm just like slowly floating out.
I almost see
Yeah.
this like scene.
Yeah, so she ties it around his waist and then she ties like a lasso end to the other side so he can like toss it to something and pull himself to it. But
Yeah.
it's 50 feet of rope.
and I think
Give him
there's
breaks.
I think
It's
there's some
It's
there's
enough.
like you see like a wooden like bridge that's been destroyed. Like it looks like you could have almost crossed this thing, but like you could probably try to like lasso like a post and pull yourself semi close to the tree.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Not flying gingerly.
Yeehaw.
Yeah,
I can put you up to 20 feet in the air, so I literally want him to hover maybe like 2 or 3 feet above the water. I'm not trying to balloon him. I'm trying to just keep him level.
How far above did you say?
Like about 3 feet above the water.
Okay, fish tries to bite your ass and misses, but
I was about to say, I'm like, I want to look down to see if there's any creatures in the water. I'm pretty close. I'm like, can I look down and whatnot? If there's anything trying to
make
nibble at my booty
a perception check.
cheeks. Ooh, child, what the hell do I fucking see? Jack shit.
An 8. 1 second.
Ooh, 1 second. On an 8. That's a big tentacle, buddy.
How many section kicks you get?
You just see some bubbles.
Some boobles. Heard.
Some
All right.
bubbles.
I am going to then hurl said rope onto pole and pull my giant rock Goliath float ass over there.
Okay.
Look at me, it's like a Macy's Day Parade.
So, eventually, you all make it to the little island that this large willow tree kind of encompasses, and it's really one of the only things that you can really see at this moment. Nock and Wisp, or not Nock, Marcoris, Wisp, and Aiden, and obviously
And
Jerry can make it.
Obviously, Jared.
Obviously, Jerry can make it through the little tunnel. It is a bit of a fit, maybe for Marcoris, maybe Wisp, but like you're able.
Jerry
to do it.
marches through confidently.
Yeah, is he walking?
He's glad something is his size.
I don't know why, but I don't like imagining Jerry walking.
Yeah,
It's,
no.
It's
it's an
weird.
uncomfortable thing to me.
Well, it's
He has wings
I don't
to
like
use
it.
them.
I don't like
Chest and
it. Yeah,
flexes
like,
and,
I
like-
literally think of him walking like this, and I don't.
When he walks,
I don't
here's
like
the thing.
it.
wings in the
What
back.
he
just
does,
swaying to the right and left.
he's like that. What's the tiny little lobster guy on SpongeBob, or whatever?
Larry?
Right?
God,
Larry?
That's not Larry. Larry the lobster's enormous. Hold on.
Oh, that's right. That's
We're
right.
talking about plankton.
I'm mixing up my SpongeBob characters.
Oh, crabs.
But that's how Jerry looks like Larry the lobster, but like very small.
So
You
does,
know,
does
it's
his
like
feet move really fast? Like,
no. He does have his feet are comically small, but when he walks, he swings his hips. So kind of like the flamboyant style walk from.
I love it.
we all know that reference. So you all.
That's why he doesn't do it
eventually-
that much, is he swings his.
Yeah. You all eventually make it to the island.
Those that kind of go with
Yeah.
would go out through. So the tunnel kind of goes down. It's been fortified with various vegetation. Feels pretty safe. It's a little dampish, but it goes down and then it comes back up. And where it comes back up, you actually come out inside the center of the tree trunk. For Knock, you wouldn't, but
I have to go outside and
Yeah, I'm just like
release
floating
the
above the way.
spell. So yeah, like I have to like.
why do you want to leave? We just got here.
I have to bring in the large barbarian.
You left the dog outside.
And she'll kind of like point over to like this large crack that's facing away, like facing towards the water, that she's kind of made into a door. It's maybe 5.5 foot tall, and it's sort of like T-shaped, like a T-shaped crack. But the base of the tree is pretty large, so we could all stand in it. Okay.
If you crawled in, I think you would be able to get in. Knock.
It's gonna be like an average doorway. The doorway is like 6 feet. That was I usually guess. So like, it's gonna be a little bit extra crampy to go and get in
Yeah.
there. But I'm gonna make
So-
it work.
Yeah, so I'll make my way to the front door and I'll kind of like wiggle my hand out so that you can see it. And I'll kind of just make a motion like this and this. And as soon as I flick it backwards, you drop onto the ground.
Everyone inside only hears. Oh, here's this.
Damn it, next time a little bit of consent there, Whitmer!
And he plants, it just hits to the ground. It's a big like thud into the earth.
So
Then I give him a thumbs up and a nod to
Yeah.
come inside and I bring my arm back in.
so you like army crawl through the door.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like one arm and then like the head trying to try, and then I realize that doesn't work, so then I gotta try to army crawl into there, wiggle my big old fucking Goliath hips in there, but I eventually make my way in there.
So
Growling and clutching the core.
all of the times that you like would touch the exterior, this tree is not a thick tree. On the inside, it's again been reinforced with almost like just vegetation. And from the outside, this tree is, maybe not in great condition. So it's kind of weak a little. So as things are moved around and you kind of come in, you'd hear the sound of glass jiggling, because from the ground all the way up the tree are shelves and shelves and shelves of jars. Every space that you can see are jars, and in the water are various colors. There's dark, light. Some of it is you can see into it. Some of them you can't see into. And some of them are open, and there's just these sort of like plants that are just sort of like moving slowly. And she'll like go over and put them in, jar them up. And she takes off her cloak, kind of hangs it up. She's just wearing kind of normal adventure garb. And she takes one of the jars off of a nearby shelf and she opens it up and she just begins to just drink it. That's better. Would you like something to drink?
Yes, please. What do you have?
Lordy.
Yes, please. One.
Yes, as much as you can get.
So she's so happy. I mean, she's just like delighted. She's like, okay. And so she goes around and she gets like, for Knock, a huge canister of this tea. And she'll explain, this is a specialty. I make this myself. I love lure weed so much. I brew it. I mix it. I love it. And just it's draped from her hair, and she's holding on. When she says lure weed, she'll hold it, and she's just braided it into her hair. Dry lure weed hanging from everywhere. It's just everywhere you can look is something that's created from this plant. And she hands
What
out
does it smell like?
dank. Let's just say
Hey,
dank.
Dag. This has always been a big quest for weed, by the way. This entire campaign.
It's a metaphor.
Oh my god, I'm a drug dealer. Yeah. She would open up some of the jars and kind of like hand it over, and she'll like waft it. One would smell really like, earthy, and one might smell acidic, and one might smell kind of like more berry, like there's things that might be floating in it. And she'll just pass out any various, if you want to take a lighter color one or a darker colored one, she just hands them to you freely.
Wisp will take the darkest color that she can find within reach.
Okay. So the higher shelves have the darker ones.
She'll reach up at least 6 foot, 7 foot tall, one of those shelves, and she'll grab one down, and
That's a good one.
she'll kind of just like uncork it and look at everyone and just like take a sip.
I think that was the day I found a really interesting berry. Yeah, that was by the
Like still drinking this as she's explaining what this
observation
berry.
area, I think.
Knock is drowning himself, by the way, with a giant. It's like making a mess on.
Marcoris is sipping his daintily.
As you guys drink, she's like, come with me, come on. And she'll kind of guide you back out. And like you came in and she showed you around and then she kind of guides you back out. And around the corner.
Grand tour.
Just outside, tucked around the corner where you couldn't see, she has a pool that is separate from the water. So there's like the water out in front and then sort of sectioned off as a deep pool. And it is lined with lureweed. It's almost like a hammock, just as if she had made a tapestry out of lureweed and it's just draped into the water. And she says, the bath. This might swear you can wash your clothes if you want.
Thank you. Yeah, that's very... And he sort of looks around for a moment, self-conscious, and then starts stripping his clothes off. And,
I would say... Sorry, I would say this is
With the little hands, oh my god.
for Knock and Wisp. This is kind of a, I don't know if it's a bittersweet moment, but it's kind of a, not that you feel let down. It's kind of hard to describe because you guys have been searching for so long.
it's a seminal moment.
Yeah, so
and like the Kyrogen Het were like, no, we can't give you any. Like, it's so hard to find, like it's difficult to obtain, and you get here and it's just like
abundant.
So abundant.
I think well, if everybody else goes outside, I think Wisp starts to go, and as you all leave, she kind of trails behind, or if anybody else stays behind, whatever. And she just kind of sits in the middle of the room. Her posture very astute, and just like looks at all of the hundreds and hundreds of jars that are just like lining, and that's what's going through her mind, is like what have we done to get here? We're here now. What does this mean? Why do I feel like something's missing? And she still sips. She's gonna continue to drink, but she's kind of going into a meditation, an open-eyed kind of like breathing meditation, where she's just deeply pondering what it's taken to get here and why she might feel the way she feels.
As you're kind of like really looking around the space, she'd been pointing out all these jars, and so your eyes would go to it, but there is also like her private things there too, that if you like kind of glanced around and really sunk into it, there's a little ladder that kind of goes up to a little alcove area where you could see the same material that's woven lureweed. She wraps herself in it. There's a little desk area, essentially, like where there's papers, things on the wall. There's things hanging off of the wall. She has various, shapes of macrame, various braids and things that are all kind of all around too. So that's other things that you would notice in that space.
She takes the lightest color that she can find within reach. So towards the bottom, while she's sitting, she scans the wall and finds the lightest color in her purview. She grabs that one. She uncorks it. She sets it in front of her. She clinks the glass. Maybe, maybe not. And she'll take a sip.
At this time, as Nock and Marcoris, you guys are kind of getting into the pool. Marcoris is
not getting into the pool.
Okay.
He might be. I just after I've chugged the hell out of this lureweed thing, and like I take it, I want to look to the small one and say,
this is your home. I finished my drink. May I?
You want to drink my home? What?
Knock like raises a glass to go to smash it, and then just slowly puts it back down onto the floor in front of her and says,
"Thank you."
And he tries to let his tongue fall out of his mouth. Does the tongue still fall out of the mouth?
As you're sitting there, there's this weird all of you kind of feel it at the same time. This like kind of, it's a kind of gurgling, a bubbling in your stomach. Then you feel kind of light for a moment, and then kind of heavy. Knock you. I think you feel something, and then you stick out your tongue and.
And she's like, "That's amazing."
So it's still there?
Yes, it is still there.
And he knock, like hears her say this is amazing, and then just yells in deep speech, "It's not!" Sucks it back into his face, but then looks back at her rearing and says,
Did you just understand that?
Yes.
Knock turns around from the pool and makes his way back into the other part of the room. So I'll let Macoris if you're going to do anything.
Laundry.
Marcoris, while you're doing this,
Okay, can I say that Marcoris is out there in his skivvies, washing his clothes in this pool very sexily in slow motion.
Really quick, Lady Lore, I need you to roll a deception check.
Mm-hmm.
Knock, I need you to roll an insight check.
That'd be a 5. Solid.
13.
Very deceptive.
13.
So
Knock, as you kind of step into the room, you realize you don't think she understood. You don't think she was telling the truth.
So Knock, as he walks into the room, he turns to Wisp, and I'm hoping this is like right at the time to which she I see her she clinks the glass, and I hear very common words mutter, and there's this look of frustration on his face and a little bit of relaxation as he takes a deep breath, and then he asks a question to Wisp.
Are you feeling any better? Be honest.
I haven't checked. She'll look down. Does she still have the eyes?
She does.
I guess it might take some time. I don't know. I feel normal. Felt something in my stomach, but I don't know. Maybe that was just because I haven't eaten today.
Knock is just very visually frustrated, and he comes over to Wisp and he crouches down. Big hulking fucking Goliath barbarian is right now. It's right by your ear.
We've been patient. Extremely patient. Look at this. It's everywhere.
It is.
Why isn't it working?
Maybe it takes time. Not all magic or remedy is instant. Maybe we need to drink it for a couple days, all day. Maybe we need to bathe in it.
Knock still has visual confusion, and he stands up, turns back around, and makes his way back into the bathing room.
Okay. Really quick, I will say, as you guys, let's see. I'm trying to think of what check this would be. Knock and Wisp roll wisdom checks, just your straight wisdom roll. And Marcoris, roll me an investigation check.
Yeah, right. No, I don't know what to say.
Love it. I'm so wise, guys.
Super.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a
Oh my
one
god.
on investigation,
That's
but I do
a
have plus one, so
wow.
it's a 2.
Wow.
Never mind. No,
Dumbest party ever.
No.
we're all
Single digits all across the board.
No. I would say it takes you. I'm trying to think of how to phrase this.
4 days later.
Yes, and you think for a moment. You think you realize something, but you're too distracted frustrated to really understand or maybe pay that thought or hunch any heed as you make your way back out.
As he, I would like to, during this time, talk to Jerry, if I can. Devour.
Yes, large woman.
Do you know if the skull on the large man's belt is available? I have an idea for you. And she'll like grab her, her big skull, and she flips it inside out and she shows that it's completely lined in loreweed. So what you do, I've taught this to so many people. You take a skull and you line it with loreweed, just as much as you can. You cut holes for your eyes and you can breathe. And it's a good size for you, maybe. Just what do you think?
I think, well, first of all, this disease does not affect me, for I am too powerful and strong of will to be affected by it.
Truly.
However, maybe for my master, of course, this would be doable. The large rock man does not like to part with his possessions, but he respects and fears me. So I will talk him into it.
I like to think right then he comes around the corner.
Yeah, there's enough to hear. I'll talk him into it.
Whose name I do not remember.
What is
You
it,
will give me
bird?
this. You will. You will give me this skull upon your belt, and I will make a hat for my master. In exchange, I will not kill you where you stand.
Knock cuts the fastest eyes at poor Skippy McCoris, who's just
McCoris
washing
Skippy.
his laundry. Yep, he cuts.
Marcoris absolutely knows what's going on. He looks back at like Knock and he's like, and then he continues to like wash very sexily.
So eyes cut back over to
To Jer, to the Jer
Jerry.
Bear.
Jerry Bear. You look over to Jerry and he says,
I suggest you stay right there on the floor, bird.
So he can put it on you. That's smart.
Yes,
its eyes cut over to her.
line this skull and place it upon my head.
And his like wings unfurl. Very small.
You're not going to touch anything upon this belt. It doesn't belong to you.
He's
Small one.
attitude.
Well, I don't belong to anybody because I am a person inside this orb you do not remember. I don't belong to you.
All the
You're
side
riding on
characters.
my belt. You belong to me.
I think this is very not okay in most parts of the world, my friend.
Lady Lore, how much of this do I have to drink before this is gone?
Oh, he won't fix that. I need an ingredient to make the powerful.
What do you need?
It's a type of flowered plant, if I remember. I have notes.
Fine.
All right. Well, maybe we can help you fetch it.
Yeah, sure.
Insight check.
Yeah, go ahead and roll.
I know, like she seems
yeah.
nervous, and I just want Mark Morris wants to.
Roll. I don't know what you would need to roll, Danae. Maybe you're not really trying to. I don't know. It's up to you.
Okay. I guess what's the insight question? Is it like
I'll
a
roll-
specific question or?
It's like she seems nervous. What's going on?
Okay.
And Marcos rolls an 8, so he wouldn't know either way, probably.
Depending on her role, if she's trying to hide something.
I think I could probably do persuasion. I don't know.
You could pick persuasion or deception and then roll off cam.
I
and tell me
could.
whether or not he succeeded.
Okay, I rolled a 12.
I rolled an 8, so you're trying to beat an 8. Yeah, so
Okay.
I can't beat
She's-
it.
But you're picking up on what she's giving, like, I would say.
All right.
Um,
Okay.
It's complicated. I don't go there. For a long time, I don't go there.
How long?
And she kind of stops, and like her doe eyes just sort of like glaze over, like she's thinking, and they don't blink. And then she blinks a couple times and she says, I don't know. Time.
Time?
I don't know. Time.
Time? You want to talk about time? Do you know how long we've been traveling here to get right where we are?
Yes.
For me to drink a belly's worth of this tea?
You want more?
Over.
You want more?
Knock.
I have
thoughts in his
so
brain is like break every jar, break every jar, break jar. But he's just trying to peel it away as he's staring at these big doe eyes of hers. He gets down really low and says,
Where are your notes?
inside.
Get them.
Okay. So go inside, and she retrieves her notebook, and she comes back out, and she starts to go through. She finds several pages, and she starts to kind of lay them out. And interesting things happen, like little plants will just appear, and again, the sound of like a little scampering animal will go by, and she's just got this sort of like little world. She starts to, and her hair will kind of lift up a little bit, and she starts to just sort of get in her little world. If you guys are looking at the papers, I could tell you what you might see.
I can't read.
Well, you could see shapes.
I've been inside, so I think if he's gonna have that moment while you're inside, I'll get up from my seated position. I'll cork the little bottle of tea that I had symbolically put out. I'm gonna put that in my pouch. So.
Oh, you were still inside?
I never came outside.
Oh, okay. She would probably say something to them before she comes outside. She'd say, oh, are you wanting more? Could I?
Yeah, you could say that.
Could I braid your hair?
And she kind of like, you see her eyes like glaze over for a second because she's never had anybody ask that question.
I'm very quick. And she'll like kind of like pull her, so her hair sticks out to like here. It's just like this, almost like a halo around her head. And she'll just like grab all these long chunks, and she's like, braid your hair.
You see, as she starts to take off her headdress and kind of unloop and unlatch the bits and pieces that are already kind of waved together, you see it fall. Everyone sees it fall for the first time over her like shoulders proper.
Just for a moment, Marcora stops doing laundry in a sexy way to watch.
And she kind of undoes like the little braids and stuff, and there are just like matted parts and obviously like purposefully dreaded parts, but she tries to undo the most she can for her. And while she's doing that, after she does that, she kind of like waves to Knock. I can read them while she does this, I suppose. We can go over it.
Yeah, so she'll like, when she goes inside to get the stuff, you know, like her notes and maps and the things that she would be able, like you would be able to like look through and see. She also just has like a bundle of just this braided lure weed, and she's like, let's do this. And she sits down, same thing, swirls and, you know, ant sounds and pings and such like this. But she would hand over her notebook freely. She's just, here you go. And
in the hood, or the sort of part where Wisp usually keeps her hair, Jaraxxus like lands in there and just sort of like curls up in it, takes a rest because he's got one hit point. Okay.
It's wise.
As
I think for the sake of this, really quickly, she'll like spin the cowl around so the hood is in the front of her.
It's a Jerry
Well,
Bjorn.
Like a baby
Yeah,
Bjorn.
yeah. 'Cause she's sitting. So I imagine this is straight up like sleepover
Yeah,
girl
absolutely.
time, where I'm sitting on the ground and she's sitting on the chair behind me, like braiding my hair, and has this basket next to her. Like that's what I imagine is happening right now.
And then there's Jerry.
So yeah, she like swipes it around. She's actually gonna unclip it, and so it can like fall, and she'll have like him in her lap instead of like up on her chest because her hair is so long.
So sweet.
Sweetest little.
And
horror
I'll
movie
start.
ever.
That gives me enough room to like actually properly look through this notebook and read through.
And,
And
she'll
I'm
like
gonna
look
read
over
out
your
loud.
yeah, and she'll look over your shoulder and be like, "That's the page. That's the right there." And it's just a
Yeah.
recipe. And there's a one ingredient line that's just like almost where she's just drawn over it several times, and it's just thicker kind of font essentially than the rest of it. And she'll say, "That's the missing ingredient."
I will read it. Is it in common?
Mm-mm.
What do I read on the page? What is it?
So I think you probably see maybe two things.
Okay.
You see an ingredient for some strange plant that you've never heard of, and
Okay.
then diamond dust is also one that you see.
Okay. Do I get a name for this plant?
I'd have to come up with one unless Danae has one.
So she has a nickname for it. She just calls it Icky Icky.
Okay. That's fine. Fine. I just need a name
The
for
whole
it.
campaign. This whole campaign.
Icky Icky is what she calls it. I didn't know if I had another word on there, so I was kind of leaving that up. But her
thumb.
version of this would be Icky Icky. And on the same page is like a little drawing in the bottom right hand corner. It's like probably it's like trees and such, but it's like over a building, like a building shape. So it's kind of like just a little snapshot.
Okay.
And then other pages that she would have pointed out. There's a map kind of the Hanging Gardens that she has. It kind of folds twice out so that you can kind of see how it looks.
Is there a drawing of what the Icky Icky looks like as well?
Oh yeah. It's just but it's like it's her drawing, so it's like a little
Right.
squiggly with a couple spurts on it, and then like it's old. This is just something that she's had for a long time.
Yeah, she'll point to
Probably
it and just be
funky.
like, can you explain what this is? What does it look like?
Well, it grows at the conservatory in the Hanging Gardens here, and Jaraxxus is very protective of it. It's kept inside, almost like a greenhouse in a way.
Sure. Is it easy to get? I don't imagine so.
Like her braiding would stop. No, and she'll keep braiding.
And the diamond dust, how much?
Oh, that's right, diamond dust. I don't remember. I think I have that written down too. I'll look for it.
Sure.
Noct does want to chime in with a question.
You have all these plants here,
All these plants.
but you don't have that.
I don't have.
Why?
Hackathon is hicky hicky.
What? Ika what?
Jaraxxus, he's not my friend anymore.
Anymore.
Right.
What is this thing you're speaking of? Is it something that plagues a conservatory?
It's man. A man
And he's keeping all this icky from you.
Oh, for himself. For himself.
That's just rude.
Isn't it though? I'm glad you think so.
Mm-hmm.
He's so rude and very angry and then nice. But mostly angry and bossy.
Ain't that always the way?
And she'll cross her arms. Yes.
Oh, love her so much. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we can have a word with this. What is it? Aristic-thon?
Icky, icky.
Icky.
Is it a creature? You said it's a person?
Yes. Arms and legs. Just like you.
I almost want to say there ain't many things like me there, darling. I'm just not. The D'Lo Brown coming out. Right.
As there's like a pause, she'll kind of like her little head will pop around the side of your head wisp, and she'll be like, "I really like your eyes," and then she'll pop back around.
Thank you. I like yours too.
Oh, thank you.
And with eyes closed in the bundle, you hear Jerry say, "I also have eyes."
They're lovely.
Thank you. How far is this conservatory?
She points to the map. If you want to look.
I will
that map?
move to the map page and I'll turn it around and show it to him.
/me looks at map.
Yeah, as you look at it, it doesn't. It takes you a minute, but it doesn't seem like it'd be more than maybe an hour or two away. It's actually relatively close.
Okay.
What time is it right now?
It's getting later in the evening. You might be able to make it tonight if you wanted.
I mean, we could try it tonight, but
Tonight?
or we can have a sleepover.
We should take supplies. But also, it's time for more tea. And she'll stop and she'll
Okay.
run in and she'll get the next round and she'll bring out and just puts down more in front of you, everybody.
So well hydrated.
Who's looking at the map? Was it Wisp?
I turned it around to show it to Knock first while she was explaining it.
You also see 3 other places marked on the map.
All right. On her return back with the tea. Ask
Here's
two
yours.
questions.
Here you are. I got the darker one for you.
What benefit do we get for drinking all this?
Oh, it keeps you alive.
It's tea, no? Like you
Tea
drink
looks at my chorus, and I was told that this tea would stop all this from occurring.
Well, yeah,
and
but we gotta
this-
get the extra.
Not kind of like billows out a little bit of the fire that like it pops out of his back. It's the first time that you see it. Like it just scorches off of the back.
All right, Hot Rod. Okay, sit
And
down.
He's like, this is what I was told.
Yes,
But
we need to get the extra ingredients. We need this icky and the dust.
I am
one thing
and
after
then-
another, you know?
Oh.
One thing after another.
You've seen, yeah, okay, all right.
And he points to the map.
what-
What are these?
What are these other
And she snatches it up and she runs inside. Like instantly, like her entire demeanor just goes from this delighted kind of like, oh, how I've look you guys, and she's just like almost sort of like a switch from Smeagol to Gollum.
It's Bilbo!
And yeah, it's a Bilbo moment. Yeah.
Can I hold it, please?
She snatches it and she runs.
You,
inside.
I think you asked too many questions now. I think you crossed the line there, buddy.
And then she gets back inside.
Knock
She's
looks impressive, of course.
Hey, this is good, man. We're making progress. We're gonna get these ingredients. We're gonna have some tea, have a little tea party, and then y'all be back to normal, right? It's good. You had a good day. And he like thumbs up at everybody. He's pulling his clothes back on, his wet clothes. It's like, day, everyone. Right. You want to do highs and lows? Should we go around the circle?
Knock grabs his
Some
mug
trust falls.
and he puts it to go clash with Wisp and her mug of tea.
I just want to say for a small moment, I'm really upset that as an air genasi, I don't have Gust as a cantrip.
Because I was just gonna say, like, I would like to send in like a thing for you to dry your clothes, but I can't. I don't have that. Kind of now just blows my mind. She tries to. I think she would kind of innately try to like shove, almost kind of like airbender style, just kind of like do a big motion and try to send some air your direction to see if it
Just
works. And when
stands
she
there, nothing
doesn't,
happens.
she just like moves to like make it look like she's stretching or something for a minute.
After a time, she comes back out. And she, are you going there tonight?
Are you
What
okay?
do y'all think?
Yes. Yes.
Inside check.
Okay.
It's good time to do it.
We're gonna get to
It
the
was
bottom
weird.
of this.
That was
small
weird.
world.
Oh my! What the fuck?
Two natural 20.
Wow,
That's
But my
terrifying.
insight is a little bit higher.
You
Um,
and Danae, you can pipe in. I think there is just the slight hint of fear,
Okay.
ever so slightly,
Okay.
that you can, despite.
That's all. Yeah, that's all
Yeah.
she wanted to suss out was like what emotion was it coming from.
I think there's
if it's fear, then
fear and with 2 nat 20s, I would say also protection.
cool.
Listen, y'all. I mean, this Iki's gonna be there tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Might as well get some sleep. I don't want to be all grumpy and tired.
Yeah, we might do better when we can see during the day too. All of this vegetation is quite a lot.
Thank you.
I can't imagine that being any easy to traverse at night.
It's awful.
Case in point.
Knock nods to everyone's words while getting rest. And he grabs his little reed thing and he reaches out to go clink. He clink at Wisp. Public clink glasses.
Yeah. She'll clink.
Does the same to Macoris. And then does the same to Miss Littleweed Princess. But doesn't take eye contact off of her while he does it. Just think.
She guzzles the tea, and it's the awful sound of just it's just like she's, like watching those videos where someone takes a thing and they don't drink, they just shove it into their mouth, like the water bottle things. It's kind of like that. She just sucks it in and she nods at you.
DM question. Well, before this, she snapped the map away.
Mhm.
Not because I didn't go ahead and enroll for it beforehand, but I'm just curious. On any of the circles that were around the conservatory, would Nock be able to know the direction of where those circles were to the conservatory?
I would say
A direction, just a one.
What is your passive perception check? Passive perception. It should be on your character sheet on the left side.
Passive perception, that would be 13?
13?
Yeah.
I would say you got the direction of one of them,
Okay.
which is to the northwest of the conservatory, or north to your what you would assume is your location. Because I would assume would Lore have like her home like circled and whatnot?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So like what you can see is to the northeast is where the conservatory is. To the direct north of you is where another like symbolism. What would he see? He would see one of them.
So it would look like like some sort of form of a circle, and then inside that another circle, and then inside that another circle. So it'd just be like almost like a target, but not necessarily completely spherical. And and there was 3 of those, and then there was a drawing of like more of a building with, you know, icky on it. So that was kind of an obvious one. Her tree is on there. There's a couple other things, but the ones that are really big and broad with those.
All right. Sweet.
In fact, like if there's a way to like get where they're going, and it would cross near one of the circles, she would try to go a different way entirely the next day if she's leading the party to the location. Like she purposefully would not go that way unless she's convinced otherwise.
Okay. Is there anything else you guys wanted to do this evening, or you just
she would
wanted to-
try to cast like you know, she would talk to the party about if there's any wounds or things that needed to be taken care of, and she would, you know, try to help. So if there's any,
I think the only person interested is Jerry.
Poisons or, you know, ailments that she can handle with her spell casting, she would check in. Although her making eye contact would have shifted after the map a little bit. She's kind of a little bit more inside of her shell.
Okay. Yeah, Jerry is a little hurt, so if you wanted to heal Jerry up, you could.
Okay.
I see her like healing Jerry, and Jerry just standing there being like,
Yes, thank you, enormous woman.
I am so enormous.
You're very big.
Thank you.
The evening passes without incident. You guys are able to sleep relatively well. For those of you who are used to sleeping on hard ground and whatnot. And you guys wake up the next morning and you begin your journey to the conservatory. Is that the direction that you guys are heading?
Oh yes, straight to.
Okay. As you guys are traveling, you're not too far in when Knock and Wisp, you wake up a little upset that your eyes, you still have multiple sets of eyes. Knock, you still have your long tongue. You can still speak deep speech and all this stuff. But the thing that you two notice is that all those voices in your head you can't hear them anymore. They've been permeating for the most of the time. Once you got rid of the Primordial's eye, it definitely lessened. But after your night, and maybe it was the tea, maybe it was a good rest, maybe it's the swamp, you're not sure, but you don't hear those voices anymore.
I think as we wake up, then I would wake up early, I feel. And if anybody else is still asleep in that small moments before other people wake, when she has this kind of realization, she would take out her memoirs and she would record in 4 colors in the 4 languages. And all it would say is, I am free. And she puts it back.
I don't know how Lore is. She would be there. She might appear to be just sitting up with her eyes open, and she would just be staring at the wall when you wake up and just blinking slowly. But like, if you came up and kind of interacted with her, you would realize that she's just not home.
Does it look like the trance that Kimura used to go into?
Ooh,
Would it look familiar to me in that way?
Make a nature check.
Sure.
Occasionally she would kind of nod and might be mumbling some words.
Okay. I got a 10 on that nature check.
It looks like, I mean, you're not sure. Because she's talking a little bit, but her eyes are blinking, maybe relatively quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Just might look like she's sleeping with her eyes open then.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Marcoris, are you awake?
what time is this?
This will be very shortly after like sunrise, the peeking over of sunrise.
Probably not.
Okay.
I mean, until it's time to go to work, you know.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
And I'll just wait for everybody else to get up. I'll probably take one of the teas off the shelf and just start sipping at it.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be fully there before we even left. Like it'd be like,
Cool.
and you'd have extra. She'd try to like be like, if you have room, she might even. It's all man. Maybe one of those extra spots on your belt. We could wrap some around there and hold some tea.
I have a bag of holding.
Yeah,
I can
knock then. Not
I can
so
put
yeah.
lots of tea in this bag.
Okay.
There you go. There's your solution. Get your damn hands from my belt.
Oh, so rude.
And I'll
Talk to
like
your elders like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put 4 bottles. I'll put 4 extra bottles in there.
Okay. Yeah. There's plenty.
Cool.
So kind of fast forward into your journey as you all continue deeper into the Hanging Gardens. Lore, you kind of have to maybe keep up a little bit as she bounds around, seemingly like looking at the ground as she kind of makes her way through the foliage. And after about an hour or two, as you're kind of following, all of a sudden the foliage stops. And ahead of you, as you all kind of look up, just seemingly out of nowhere, you see a large glass conservatory. And as you're looking in, it appears filled to the brim with plant life. The glass is a little bit tinted, you can tell. That doesn't let as much sunlight in. And what sunlight would maybe permeate through looks like it might be blocked by some of these plants because there's so much.
I grew those plants. Those are mine.
Yeah, we'll get them back.
So this man is no more than a common plant thief?
Oh, no. No. I've seen many kinds of people over all of my time here. So much time. But I wouldn't call him common. No. He's hungry and angry, and when he smiles, his tusks and she'll get quiet.
So I'm guessing that knocking on the front door isn't the best idea.
It depends if you want to meet him or not.
Well, I always try to lead with a conversation, but if he's angry, it might be worthless.
Well, he'll want to use you.
Use me how?
Use
us.
His mind is tortured. He's obsessed. Endlessly obsessed.
How long has he been here? You said to yourself, as I should respect an elder.
Yes,
So how old are you?
I don't know.
And how long has he been here?
I don't know.
You're full of information, you know that?
Thank you.
At this point, the glass doors to the conservatory open.
She'll
With a
try to hide
gust of
behind
wind.
Goliath.
Knock looks behind. Shakes his head a little bit, but has his eyes completely engaged on whatever is coming forward.
You wait for a moment and nothing does.
And then he looks to Marcoris and Wisp.
You know, the last time we ended up coming to a door that didn't open, we had to find a way to open it. This is hospitality.
Something like it.
Well, their big mouth. Talk to it.
And Marcos is going to walk into the greenhouse.
Okay.
I take out my quarterstaff and I follow behind him.
I do the same. As I take out my obsidian axe.
Is Aiden with us? Is Aiden cool? Has he been chilling?
Yeah,
We haven't
Dog
checked in with Aiden in like over an hour, so.
Yeah. As you
Is he all right?
as the doors opened, you
How's
see
our
kind of
hellhound?
the hair on the back of his neck kind of fluff up a bit. He does seem a little on edge, just as much as anybody.
Okay.
But he
Except
kind of
for
keeps
Jerry.
close
Jerry
to
doesn't
Wisp.
care.
Jerry doesn't care. Jerry's like
He's not afraid
flexing
of
a little
anything.
bit, like getting
He's making his pec
All right,
stance.
Jerry. Okay,
Yeah.
Jerry. We get it.
Yes.
We get it, Jerry.
Before entering, I'll cast Shillelagh on my weapon, on my staff,
Okay.
and I will give myself resistance, and that's just her kind of like. And she'll just like walk around the corner, join them.
And as Marcos enters, he's casting detect magic.
Okay.
As he does, just to like look for threats, basically.
Right.
Bing, bing, bing.
Yeah, you do see obviously all your companions light up with magical auras, as well as Lady Lore. She does at several times. Like several of her items, you see her boots light up kind of with a magical aura, her cloak that she wears, and then it looks like maybe something around her neck.
Oh, and on her hip is a dagger.
Oh, and right.
For a second, I thought you said a daiquiri, which would
That's
have
right.
been
That's what I thought too. It was
Yeah.
like the
Very
strawberry
different.
variety.
Well, I mean, she does make a lot of really interesting concoctions.
She does.
so-
She's basically a mixologist.
Yes, yes.
It's-
Her private collection.
right.
Okay.
So Marcos enters and says, "We come here seeking audience with Erisicathon. My name is Marcos Deg of the Order of the Emerald Claw. Is anyone home?"
She's gonna try to hide behind some plants.
Okay. Make a perception check, Marcos.
Yeah, all right. Not my best. 3, just a 3.
3.
Can I do it with advantage, which would give me a 4?
Sure, I'll give you advantage.
Okay.
No one answers.
Well, we're sure he's here, and the door's open, but that could have just been coincidence.
The door's closed behind you as you say this.
Okay, all right,
They're
that's
uncornered.
okay.
And you're kind of looking around and you see just potted plants, just all sorts of various plant life as you kind of continue walking. At one point you see what looks like to be some sort of strange carnivorous plant that like turns and looks at you and tries to bite at you. As you
Yeah.
walk past, it's got like, it almost looks like teeth, but they are definitely like thorns. And then you guys continue.
That plant's angry.
As Laura passes it, she goes,
Kind of like turns its little bobbled head and like looks at Lure, and then kind of keeps watching as you guys pass. You guys continue, and Wisp, you hear somewhere at the edge or somewhere off in the distance, this conservatory is just a giant greenhouse. It looks like it's just continues straight. You hear the clinking of glass, some bubbling, and some movement ahead of you. Maybe
I will
10
stop.
feet.
Yeah, I'll stop and have my staff in my left hand and kind of like put it out so no one can move past me, and I'll put my arm up. And I'll point in the direction that I hear it, and I'll point to my ear so that everybody can listen. And I'll turn to I'll turn to Lore.
What should we expect? Is he tall, short, wide? What are we getting into?
I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen him.
Okay.
Oh. I don't want to say hello, but I will. I will.
You're very brave.
Thank you.
He knows you. Maybe that's a good start.
Do you have any advice?
Knock
They
knock
open with a
goes.
joke?
Like
Oh.
yeah, knock pushes from my. Are you behind me still, or like you like?
Yeah, she's like,
He kind of like takes his big hand, like hits, like pushes your back and moves you very forward, and goes,
Here's your advice. Be brave.
and like just like nudges you forward to like where you can like pretty much hit, like wisp his staff. She has it outward.
okay, so she approaches what I assume is like the lab area.
Okay.
She just kind of looks around behind and
Wisp is
She'll-
following close.
she'll roll her shoulders. She'll recast her spells that have no doubt faded. And then she'll kick the door open and say, "Hey, asshole!"
And knock kind of just goes, well, that's what
I
we
immediately hang my head and I shake it
Jaraxxus like nods like, yeah.
and I rub my fucking forehead. And I'll stand in the door frame right behind her.
Okay. You wait for a moment as you say this, as almost you expect something to happen. It takes a few seconds, and then you hear a voice.
It seems you have brought friends this time, Lady Lore. Do not keep me waiting. Come in. It is only polite that people invite others into their home, is it not?
Once my home, in a way, too. I spent a lot of time here, too. Also, my plants, too. And she'll kind of look behind her and be like, "Asshole. Yes, we choose to come in." And she'll like try to take a step forward. Let me just see how that goes. Not great.
As
She's
you,
like,
yeah, and you take a step forward, and all of a sudden, all of you behind you here,
Continue forward, please.
you turn around and see no one. And then you hear another voice ahead of you that says,
My time is precious. Please.
Okay. Fine. I brought you a gift. And she'll walk in.
as
and
you,
like open her cloak and just start dumping like dried lure weed. Here you go. You're
all
welcome.
of you see, as you look forward, you see with their back towards you, kind of hunched over with their hands on the table. You do see a table with all these kind of like Sigismund's laboratory, but you see like alchemy tools, like a mortar and pestle, things like this. The figure is tall, not quite as tall as Nock, but maybe right around like 6'3". So like slightly larger than average height. You see slick back, long black hair, and they're wearing some sort of like vest, but it is currently being covered by what looks to be like a white apron. They turn around at this point, and you can see a figure with very gaunt features. Again, the slick back black hair. You see, they're not wearing. You can't really see any of their skin, but they are very obviously of their face. They're very pale, and you see pointed ears that don't make their They look almost elven in a way. And then you see the apron that they're wearing is just covered in dirt.
You bring me this every time.
You,
I do not want this. You know what I want, Lady Lure.
I will never give it to you, but I will give you this. I came from a request of the plant.
Which one?
Icky icky.
He kind of looks knowingly.
And what could you possibly want with this?
As he kind of stands up straighter.
She tries to mimic him, and she only goes up like a half of an inch. My own experiments. Equally important. She's like awkwardly holding the staff while trying to cross her arms.
Roll a deception check for me.
Oh, shit! That's 14.
14.
Do not play coy with me. I can see right through you, as if you are a window. I thought we were past this.
What? Me calling you names?
You call me many names, none of which are correct.
Which do you prefer?
He doesn't answer as he kind of scoffs and turns away.
Who are your friends? I have not seen them before.
And she just kind of looks like,
Marcos Dag, Order of the Emerald Claw, representative of Lady Ilmero. And these are my associates. Do y'all want me to introduce you? Okay.
Knock hasn't made broken eye contact with the person in front of him.
I am Knock.
This. Okay.
Barbarian hearing from the Arcade Mountains.
And I come from the Ikuhara Shrine.
He stops for a moment, looks at you all.
Outsiders, then. Like me. And like Lady Lore here.
this city chose me.
Seems we all have something in common.
Do not see many outsiders like us here. After everything that happened.
Where exactly are you from?
I thought you've heard of it.
Try me.
Looks around. Takes off his gloves, and you can see kind of long, clawed fingers. He kind of looks at you all and kind of like twitches a little bit. Kind of tenses his jaw. And for a moment, you see two long, canine, sharp teeth.
Lady Lore calls me Eric Ikathon. Funny, she thinks.
It is funny. It is.
From where I'm from, obviously, I go by a different name. I used to be nobility. I used to be something so much more. Until this city trapped me from within.
He kind of thinks for a moment as he chooses his words carefully. I am Strahd von Zarvich, and I hail from Barovia. And that is where we're going to end for tonight.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
I think you just broke Ray.
It's icky icky, guys.
It's icky icky.
Icky.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Where we were.
And now we got
Yeah.
vampires in the greenhouse.
Oh, not the cat.
Man, guys.
No.
That's a fun place for those to be.
You just walked into the house of a vampire lord.
Fucking straw.
Wasn't that his voice?
Right.
My name is Stroth, you guys.
My name is Strahd von Zarvich. Welcome to my home.
I don't talk about with my teeth with a straw. Only a straw.
Oh no, straws.
It comes full circle. The straw joke comes full circle. I
Yeah,
love
it does.
this.
Always.
This is great. Oh my god. Oh, that fucks me up, man.
I had to give you guys a couple of those oh shit, oh fuck moments. And so I
There was
really
many this
wanted you to get here.
My god.
I really wanted you to get here, so I'm sorry we ran a little bit over, but
No, we're here, baby.
No.
oh
Perfect.
man. Thank you everybody for hanging out with us tonight. We had a lot of followers, so we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for the raid again. We should be back next week to see what the fuck is going on here, because there's a lot of fuckery, to put it lightly.
Yeah.
Light fuckery, you know. It's like
Light
light
fuckery.
A little
foreplay.
dash.
chatting.
Just
Mild.
a little bit of fuckery.
Fuckery tea, really.
Ah, indeed. We had a lot of that.
Oh, fucker tea. That's it. It's fucker tea.
Fucker tea.
Party
It
is
is, it's
so
like
well
Booker T's
hydrated at this
cousin.
point.
Yeah.
So well,
Just, we all have to pee so bad all the
Yeah.
time.
It took us forever to get there because we had to stop every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was the
Sam
worst.
Peter was
The
not
worst
bad.
road trip known to man. Let's just go around and for until next week, tell us who you are, where we can find you, what you're up to, and all those lovely things. Justin, let's start with you.
Yeah.
We'll go into a counterclockwise.
Hey, I'm Doc Rimbo. He, him, or they, them. I'm Doc Rimbo here on Twitch and on Twitter. I've been streaming off and on. I'm looking forward to streaming even more now that I've sort of upgraded my setup. And so come on and see me play Pretend Cowboys anytime you want. Stop on by. And that's where you can find me. Today was just super great. And today we're so glad you're here. That was terrific. And you just jumped right in and it felt like you were part of the group. And I'm having a blast. So thank you very much.
Hell yeah! And do you want to plug another show, Mother?
Oh yeah, that's right. Also, I'm here. What is that place? I don't know. I run the second InfiniteRP show, which is called Flames of Freedom, which is a system based in the Revolutionary War plus zombies, and it is super awesome. And we are starting our second season on January 17th with the same cast as the first season plus one. Our friend Nymeria is going to be joining us. Anna is going to be a permanent cast member, and the group has relocated to New York, so now it sort of becomes Revolutionary War X-Files, and it is going to be crazy. January 17th, which is coming sooner than I think, but please come and watch.
It's so amazing. If you haven't watched like season one, it's so good. You should watch it, and you should have like plenty of time to watch it. It's 9 episodes.
It's, 9 episodes.
9 episodes,
and they're about 3 hours each, so it's plenty of time to catch up.
It's just like you're binge watching Law and Order. It's fine.
Basically, yeah.
But yeah, we're super
it's
excited for that.
exactly the same as Law and Order.
Yep. Not 23 seasons,
Dun,
just
dun.
one. We just don't have the sound effects yet. We're working on it. Ray, what are you up to? Where can we find you? All those wonderful things.
Oh, hey, I'm Ray, or with a brick with 2Ks everywhere on the interwebs. You can find me everywhere. I stream sometimes. I've been getting back into our roleplay slowly but surely, so find me there doing those things. Or sometimes I just like to sit and chat with a VTube. So I've been doing a lot of weird things. Come by and check that out. If you're interested in seeing me move from player to DM, I'm running a Morkborg one shot on December 12th. I think it's at 8 p.m. Eastern, if I'm not mistaken, and it will be over on the Initiative Order. So another very good channel friend of mine personally. I'll be running Morkborg for St. Jude. We're doing a weekend of gaming, and all the proceeds go to St. Jude. And it's going to be a really great, spooky winter fun time. So if you want to see winter horror, come find me. It's going to be an interesting ride for these folk. I'm sorry in advance. But oh, it's gonna be a great ride. But yeah, no. Besides that, you can follow me on my channel or everywhere on the internet and hear me complain about various things that I complain about.
Hell yeah. I'm so excited for your one shot. I can't wait to check it out.
I'm
It's gonna be
also
so
very
Yeah, I'm gonna be watching that for sure.
It's gonna be so good.
Yep, skip.
Oh my goodness. Derek, what are you up to? Where can we find you, my friend?
Oh, hello. Where can you find me? What I've been up to? You can find me at atop Derek Mountain, Derek atop the mountain, but in the order of atop Derek Mountain on anything on Twitter or YouTube, where I've been posting a lot more avidly. Recently, just posted up the Wild RP folks playing crab game. My God, was that just too ridiculous? But overall, I will be streaming this week only about a few times just because I've been trying to catch up on a bunch of other side projects. 24 hours, there's not enough time throughout the day when you're trying to do 15,000 fucking things. So I'm trying to balance music, finding job, Twitch, streaming, roleplay, kids, wife, house, all that. I'm making the damn time for it. You'll probably got a weekly schedule streaming every single day next week for sure. And you'll be finally playing Wild RP, Red Dead Redemption, playing Halo Infinite, and a bunch of other stuff on top of that as well. So if you want to come see my eclectic brown ass do some fun stuff, you know where to find me.
Hell yeah. And Danae, where can we find you? What exciting things do you have going on?
You can find me at Danae Says on Twitch and Twitter and Instagram, but I don't really post a lot on social media. I'm kind of just there because you're supposed to do that. So it's not like you're going to go there and find something exciting. You're going to go there and be like, wow, you have nothing going on. But in actuality, most of my time is spent writing and managing CinemaSins, which is a YouTube channel. We do snarky, sarcastic, everything wrong with videos on YouTube that releases every Tuesday and Thursday. I also write for TV Sins, which releases on Mondays and Wednesdays, and Commercial Sins, which releases on Fridays, as well as podcasting for CinemaSins. There's a couple podcasts you can catch if you enjoy the writing team. There are 6 writers and editors and all that. So I've got my fingers in all that stuff, just producing content. So if you want to just see some of what I have a hand in creating, you can go to any of those YouTube channels and find that. But if you want to find my streaming stuff, Twitch is probably the best place to go. I don't stream a lot, especially the last few weeks. I've been taking a hiatus since I've got a friend who's visiting. So my evenings are spent playing Call of Duty in person in front of the TV. And we're having a good time with that. So as soon as my guy goes back home in about a week, I will resume streaming. I stream a character named Babs on Wild RP's Red Dead Redemption 2. And I would love to have you come and check her out. She is a pouty mouth, dangerous, crazy person. That's all I'll say about that. But thanks for having me. I've had a really good time with you guys. This has been a lot of fun, and I can't wait for next week.
Yes, and we have a couple more weeks with Danae, so we're super excited to see what happens because yes, things and stuff and things. And I'm Cole or Lacuna RP. You can find me at Lacuna RP on Twitch and Twitter, where I sometimes stream very, very rarely, and I'm sometimes active on Twitter. Also very, very rarely. You can always find me here, though, on most Thursdays when we're playing this wonderful campaign. And then you can always see me hanging out with these other folk every so often in their streams. And obviously, when Flames of Freedom comes up, I will be hanging out there and whatnot. We're super excited for that. But we will be live next week to see what the heck happens. Thank you all so much for your support. We love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here each and every week, and all the new viewers that we have. Thank you guys so much as well. Stay tuned after the credits because we will be rating Mermaid Royal, who's doing some D&D right now. So stay tuned, show them some love, and we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.